I have the Indiana Pacers going to the NBA Finals.
Wow.
I think Pascal Siakam's going to play better this series than Tyrese Halliburton.
That's insane.
And win Conference Finals MVP.
What is going on here with the Pacers? Why are they so good in the playoffs for you?
I'm very high on this team. How good was Tyrese Halliburton last year, in your opinion?
He was very good.
And that was because he played most of the season injured. So if you imagine the way he plays without the injury, a full season of Pascal Siakam, who I think is one of the most underrated players in the league right now, a leap you're going to get from Andrew Nembhard, with the bench depth that they have, I think this team is destined to make a finals run. Well. 7 months ago, I said some things. Y'all laughed at me. Y'all trolled me. Knicks fans gave me threats in my comment section and my DMs and my mentions. And would you look at that? Look who wound up being right. Would you look at that? The Indiana Pacers are NBA Finals bound. Who on God's green earth could have called it? Is this guy.
But this is the most, what's the correct word? Hold on. This is the most non-finals run from a non-finals team that we've seen in finals history. And I'll stand by that.
I don't know what kind of take that is.
And we literally saw an 8 seed go to the finals 2 years ago.
I understand that. But we're in different times now.
You also called their run a fluke last year, so...
Who's running fluke?
The Pacers when they went to the conference finals.
But, I mean...
Yeah, right. Like, this team was in the conference finals last year.
I don't know.
And look, all I heard from Knicks fans was, wait till we're healthy. They packed them up in less games.
Well, we'll get into the reasons why, because there were issues going on, right?
Like...
We'll
get into
save it. We'll save it.
But listen, but the finals is going to be a wrap. Like the talent gap between both teams is pretty big, and
I'm not so sure about that.
I disagree.
I think it's a wrap.
I think we're going to talk about it later on in the show.
We will.
But yeah, obviously, as you guys can tell by the intro, because I'm gonna start this episode with a few screenshots of some of my old Pacers takes from last fall, which is crazy. But yeah, I took a shot in the dark. I believed, and would you look at that? They wound up proving me right. So
I think you're low-key a Pacers fan.
I'm not.
He is a Pacers fan.
I'm still, because I got dumb heated when we played the Pacers earlier in the season, and there was like a big fight between like Trent and Watford and them. But as far as like, I would root for them whenever the Nets are out. But I'm a Nets fan. I just enjoy the Pacers. I enjoy the Nuggets. I enjoy those kind of teams.
Got it.
But Nets world always, no two ways about it. But yeah, I think that might, at least for now, unless the Pacers win the finals, that is probably my greatest prediction of all time.
Oh, yeah.
It's a flaming hot take. Makes absolutely no sense why I would think that, why I believed so much. But yeah, man, I went on a victory lap on Twitter the other night. It felt so freaking good.
Deserved it.
And look, we're 4 more wins away from my other prediction being even better when I said the Pacers would win it all. And he said cut the show. So
the show is still being cut as we speak.
We'll have to see. But it's episode 60. It's our NBA Finals special. Got Tyler, Ant, Gio back in the stew. Guys, how we doing to open up this 2nd June of the podcast?
My best friend's name's Stu.
What the heck?
No, I'm joking.
Yeah, I think I met Stu at River and Henley.
I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you.
But no, yeah, we're chilling though. We're chilling. We're here. We're ready to talk basketball. We're ready.
Yeah, I feel like this is going to be a good yap sesh because we got some good negative Knicks talk, and obviously we'll talk about the finals. We're going to go through our normal, first 45 minutes to an hour of news, and then we'll kind of break down a little bit of the finals, give our, we'll ask some questions about some matchups and everything of that nature, and it'll lament to our final predictions in the end. So we have a community poll about who y'all think will win and how many games, so go vote that. Links down in the description. And if you guys do enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel. We're less than 200 subscribers away from 6K. We're trying to get there by the end of this series, which should take us to maybe like next week or the week after. It's possible, but we need y'all help to get there. If you're on Spotify audio platforms, give us 5 stars, answer the polls, leave a review, all that good stuff. Follow our socials down in the description. Discord servers in the pinned comment below. Get Gio to 1 million Instagram followers. And guys, do we have anything else to sort of say before we kind of dive right in?
No, let's go.
Alrighty, it's the next day. Unfortunately, the segment we recorded yesterday, the one that you can see down in the timestamps about the coaching changes and everything like that, the audio file corrupted. So
here we are.
Yeah, so basically that kind of sucks. We're going to record our finals predictions later, which you'll see at the end of the show. So let's, I guess, break the news that Antoine was hoping and praying and everything else in between for the past, how long? Like 2-3 months, maybe a little bit longer than that.
Yeah.
We saw a tweet from Shams come out yesterday at the time of recording that breaking, the New York Knicks are relieving Tom Thibodeau of his duties as head coach of the New York Knicks. Thibodeau led the Knicks to their first East Finals in 25 years, made the playoffs in 4 of 5 years, and led the Knicks to consecutive 50-plus win seasons for the first time since the 1990s. Shams will go on to quote his own tweet, saying the Knicks are singularly focused on their pursuit of a championship and believe a new voice will serve as the focus of the organization for the next step. After 5 seasons with the Knicks, Tom Thibodeau is out as head coach. And then the New York Knicks, after giving their PR statement, Leon Rose, the Knicks president of basketball operations, put out a statement on the Knicks Twitter. We'll put that on the screen as well, saying, in quote, "Our organization is singularly focused on winning a championship for our fans. This pursuit led us to this difficult decision to inform Tom Thibodeau that we've decided to move in another direction. We can't thank Tom enough for pouring his heart and soul into each and every day of being the New York Knicks head coach. He led us not only with class and professionalism for the past 5 seasons, but also to tremendous success on the court with 4 playoff berths and 4 playoff series victories. Ultimately, we made the decision we feel is best for our organization moving forward. Tom will always be a part of our Knicks family, and we truly wish him nothing but the best in the future." So a lot to unpack there regarding Tom Thibodeau as he exits the head coaching job for the New York Knicks. I guess we'll go over to the Knicks fan, Gio. No, I'm just kidding. Antoine, what are your thoughts on this decision from the New York Knicks?
Well, I mean, it's crazy, like, talking about it for the past months and, wanting it to happen and then hearing some fans saying that it's not going to happen and then it does happen and then you're like, look back at the fans and be like, see, I told you. I saw this from the beginning, as I always do. But I always want to thank Tibbs for what he did for us in the past 5 years. He brought us out of purgatory from a very lackluster teams, plural, and coaches from like Fizdale, Hornacek, Kurt Rambis, Derek Fisher. I can go on and on. Mike D'Antoni, Mike
Phil
Woodson,
Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
It was just
Phil Jackson was the GM, not the coach.
He didn't coach at one point?
He was the
Are we
president
sure
of the
about that?
basketball.
could have. I don't.
Pretty sure he coached.
No.
Melo, D Rose,
No, he wasn't
Joakim
the coach.
Noah. He was coaching that.
No, he was not. He was the GM.
Tyler, please fact
I'm
check
just gonna
this.
fact
I,
check.
I'm a Knicks fan. I know this.
You probably were right then.
Let's
He was
see.
the- he was the GM.
As a coach, he was an assistant for the New Jersey Nets, but in the NBA, he only coached the Chicago Bulls and the LA Lakers.
Yeah,
Okay.
he
But
moved.
it was what you're talking about. He was the GM for maybe 2 years.
Yeah.
Right.
And kind of set that team up with Melo, and then
Yeah,
it all just
everybody.
kind of fell apart.
Right.
Yeah. But it's tough. I mean, the ironic part is that Leon Rose should be out too because the team that he built Tibbs to come on the court is not ideal for any team to work, especially the bench. Can't rely on certain guys. Campaign, Landry Shamet, DeLon Wright. Even the rookies didn't get enough playing time, and we know Tibbs would like to develop guys like Obi Toppin, for example, who's now in Indy, about to probably win his first ring of his career. And, the starting 5, we saw a lot of just iffy moments from a lot of the guys that left fans wanting more and just questioning Tibbs and the players themselves, like McHale, Josh Hart getting moved to the bench, Mitchell Robinson, just him on the offensive side, like what's going on, Cat with the foul trouble, and so on and so on. And if you watched every Knicks game this year, you could tell that something was internally wrong with the team and just how the coaching was and what was going on with the players. And I know they won 50 games, but it's telling to see a lot of fans and on Twitter and social media and in the games as well that they wanted Tibbs gone even before the playoffs. And the Pistons talk in the first series that he was gone if he was out. Same thing in the Celtics series that he was out. And then on the Pacers series, they're out and he gets fired. So it seems like they were just waiting for them to get out of the playoffs and then Tibbs was going to get the boot and bring in somebody new. So, it would be crazy if they did make the final and he got booted out. Just insane. And, we move forward now. Again, I feel like Leon Rose should have gotten the boot as well, but it is his call. Dolan trusts in him for what he built so far. And maybe he has a shorter leash coming into now with the new head coach. With the team he builds around him, we'll have to see. But just gutted for Tibbs a little bit because he took a team that shouldn't have gone to the conference finals, to the conference finals, I feel like, this year in a lot of ways. Yeah. As Knicks fans said on Twitter, it was kind of an easier run for us with the injuries for the Celtics. The Pistons are probably the hardest test we had besides the Pacers as well. And, I think that Leon Rose wants the younger guys to get a lot of better looks next year. The rookies that you drafted this year and
Anthony,
this past year. Can I finish what I'm saying?
No, I want to ask a question.
No. Okay. Ask me a question. Yeah, go ahead.
The question is, I'm kind of confused at where you're coming from because you're saying you don't know if Tibbs deserved to get fired, but then you're also saying he should have got fired. So what is your answer? Like, can be more clear. Like, did he deserve to get fired, or should he have? What do you think?
Yeah, I think I'm not a big fan of the thing that the reason why the way the firing happened, and from hearing the reports, is that he was supposed to be gone like in every series if he lost. Like, I don't like that. Like, let the coach the series, and then like we'll talk about this after. Like, that puts a lot on Tibbs' back. That's why I say I feel gutted for him, because having to hear that talk when you're trying to coach a series to win.
Okay.
Like, you should be focused on the series. Like, firing stuff should be after the offseason when you get eliminated. That's why I'm gutted. But he should have been gone, because the starters that were getting played to the ground, like Josh Hart, the bench, not trusting the bench guys, but again, Leon Rose, is that fault for building that bench for Tibbs, but again, should have utilized it a lot more and put in guys that he trusted and developed, even the rookies as well. And Obi Toppin's another good example of that as well. Now he's in Indiana. But I felt it was time for him to go. The burnout of Tibbs was happening starting like last year a little bit, but the injuries happened, and now this year we saw a little burnout from Tibbs, just defensively the most.
You're talking about from the players were burning out, right?
Well, Tibbs burnout too.
The whole team essentially,
Yeah.
because like when you're so good for so long, like successful with a roster, and it doesn't really change much up until this season, things start to stale out. Like we talked about this with Denver earlier on in the season, that it was the same starting five, and everyone was kind of catching on. They were game planning well, and the team's just not as hungry as they were before. And I'm so divided on this, because Tom Thibodeau deserved to lose his job, because like you said, the whole burnout. Did you see what Kenny Smith said after Game 6? That Tom Thibodeau wouldn't even play 9 guys in a baseball game. So there's certain aspects where that is pretty flagrant, and at the end of the day, a defensive-minded head coach shouldn't net the worst transition defense I've ever seen in my life. And there's little things that go into it. My issue is mainly with Leon Rose. It's not Tom Thibodeau's fault that 6 first-round picks were traded for Mikal Bridges. It's not Tom Thibodeau's fault that another first-round pick, Julius Randle and Dante DiVincenzo, were traded for Karl Anthony Towns, who's known to not be a good defender.
Exactly.
It's not Tom Thibodeau's fault that Leon Rose made these moves. It's not Tom Thibodeau's fault that Leon Rose and the Knicks general managers can't draft. Because LeBron said it himself on his show. No, the same teams don't know how to draft. It really takes certain personnel to draft well and scout well and everything like that. And I think what irks me the most about Leon Rose, and this is something Stephen A. actually brought up earlier on First Take, this man refuses to face the bright lights in person. He hides behind these statements. He hides behind all these company answers and dancing around certain topics and everything like that. It's very cowardly. And we saw Sean Marks absolutely embarrass himself throughout the whole collapse of our big three in Brooklyn. He sat himself down in front of the press, man the freak up, I don't want to get demonetized, and answered every damn question that was in his face. Yeah. Do I think Sean Marks is a good general manager? Depends on the day. But he's a man of his word. Leon Rose doesn't tend to do those things. And, I don't know what else Tibbs could have done with this roster, because a defensive-minded head coach can't have a team full of cones really do this. And that's really the main problem. And now you're looking at the Knicks' future. It's very bleak with the lack of draft picks. You have one tradable pick, I think. You could swap in 2029 or 2030 or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's not good. Tom Thibodeau was put in a precarious situation by Leon Rose and World Wide West and whoever else runs the New York Knicks. Yep. So that's kind of my main gripe with it. But what do you think, Gio? I know you were very supportive of Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, I mean, look, Tom Thibodeau, I don't even know how you say his name. Is it Thibodeau?
It's Thibodeau, yeah.
Thibodeau.
So Tom Thibodeau, he has something that you can't really teach, and that is he has heart. He has passion. And that definitely rubs off on the guys. I feel like he's the type of coach that is going to get the most out of his players in any situation that he's in. Right. He's always going to do that, whether he's playing 5 guys the game or 6, 7 guys, he's going to get the most out of the guys that are playing on the court every single time. So there's no doubt in my mind that even though he got fired, he's going to find a job instantly because he is a good quality coach.
If I'm Rick Carlisle or Jordy Fernandez or David Adelman or whoever,
Anyone.
if he doesn't get a head coaching job, get him on your assistant staff as soon as humanly possible.
Exactly. And it's up to him if he wants that. If he wants it, he can have it. I bet you there's all 30 teams is knocking at his door.
29.
Do you want 29? All 29 teams is knocking on his door asking, do you want a job here? You know what I mean? So, like, that's the type of coach he is. Unfortunately, like you guys said, he was the fall guy because Leon Rose didn't do his job properly.
Yeah.
I think that whoever the owners are of the Knicks,
James
who are they?
Dolan.
James Dolan.
Yeah.
He needs to lock in and see what's going on with Leon Rose because that's the root of the issue. Or maybe James Dolan is the root of the issue.
I mean, James Dolan also spoke to the media, so they're kind of in lockstep.
Okay.
So Tom Thibodeau, this seemed like your classic run-of-the-mill scapegoat project.
Yeah.
It was as clear as day because, like, look, I mean, if you think about it, like the Knicks, this is where it's more at fault for Leon Rose because the Knicks went 50-32 last season, made it to the second round, lost in 7 to the Pacers. This year, you make 2 massive trades, and you finish with 1 more win. You fall 1 seed back because Cleveland improved massively this year, and then you get to the conference final. You know what? Like whether it was warranted or not, you upended Boston, a team that no one, including myself, all 3 of us, didn't give them a donkey's chance at even like winning 1 game. So, to me, this seemed like more of a Leon Rose issue. No.
Yeah,
and that's why I disagree with Anthony. I feel like Anthony, you were kind of harsh on Thibodeau. At least yesterday, maybe you changed.
I mean, the decisions Thibodeau made in games, like Thibodeau should have been fired. It's just a matter of they should have done a full cleaning up shop, just like Denver did.
A cleaning up shop of Leon Rose and Tibbs out. Got it.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, and like a lot of Knicks fans are waiting for Leon Rose to have a press conference even before the trades he made. Like he does not like him and Will Rest. Like I understand like they're super agents and they have a lot of connections in the NBA, but like who's to say that super agents make good players, good people that run teams? You know, they have no experience. Like that's why you bring in other guys that have been assistant president of basketball or assistant GMs of other teams to running your teams because they've seen the process.
And that's the problem right there because if you kind of look at how this Knicks team is built, it's really expensive, overpaying trades. You only have Brunson there because of tampering. And then everyone that's drafted doesn't really pan out because the Knicks don't draft well.
Also, a report came out today. Are you familiar in like the credibility of Amico Hoops?
It sounds familiar.
Is Amico?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But what does it say?
So Sam Amico today put out a statement that multiple Knicks players are unhappy with the presence of Rick Brunson on the bench.
Oh, wow.
And Hoops Wire sources said that multiple Knicks players are unhappy with the presence of assistant coach Rick Brunson, the father of Jalen Brunson. What the issue is exactly has not been determined, though. Sources suggest that Rick has had too big a say in things.
Well, it's the truth. You know, I don't remember Remember when Dante DiVincenzo was barking at the bench in the preseason? I don't remember if he was talking to Tibbs or if he was talking to Rick Brunson. But I do remember in Game 4 that Benedict Mathurin, who was having an awful series, Rick Brunson was chirping at him. Benedict Mathurin chirped right back, and he had himself a career game.
I remember. I think the Devo was to Rick Brunson. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
I remember that clear as day.
Yeah, because I'm not too sure, but he is a head case, and you know he could wind up becoming the Knicks head coach. I know they're looking at Johnny Bryant. I know they're looking at they could look at a guy like Michael Malone, or they could look at a Taylor Jenkins or a Mike Brown or whoever.
They were saying today, Dan Hurley, Jay Wright are out. Udoka, they wanted to interview Udoka. He's out.
Why would Udoka leave Houston?
They're interested in, I think, Johnny Bryant. We'll get into Jordan Ott because he took the Phoenix job. Johnny Bryant opens up a lot more for us now.
Yeah.
I hear Jason Kidd because of the Giannis relationship to bring him over to New York. I don't know.
It just seems like a lot of hoops to jump through.
Jason Kidd would come back to New York to coach.
Yeah.
I think it's Johnny Bryant or lose.
My guess is I think Johnny Bryant's your safe bet because
familiarity.
It's more familiarity. I just don't really think like Michael Malone seems too similar to Tibbs in the sense that he doesn't really trust the young guys much. It's why he got fired because him and Calvin Booth didn't see eye to eye. I mean, do you have any sort of inklings, Gio? Do you have any preferences of who you think the Knicks should hire?
Well, don't let it be Rick Brunson. That's all. Anyone but Rick. That's what I think. Whoever you think is good. I mean, I'm not following like all the coaches and everything, so I don't even have like a good opinion on this.
We know Malone, Mike Brown, and Jenkins are out there.
I know Malone would be a good fit.
Jenkins could be like a good stopgap for a few years.
Maybe Jenkins.
You still have Mike Budenholzer still out there.
Bud, yes.
Still have Mark Jackson out there who's still looking to coach, who could potentially make his return to the NBA.
I don't see Mark for the Knicks.
Knicks fans, now that Ott got hired to Phoenix, are calling for Johnny Bryant.
Yeah.
That's what they want. Because they were worried about him getting Phoenix. Now it's not him. It's opened up the door for us for him a lot more.
That's fair. Or you kind of, you could just promote whoever your top assistant is, and if someone gets canned midway through the season.
That was Bryant before he left this season.
Well, right, yeah.
So
to Cleveland, so he can come back.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Speaking of Johnny Bryant, he is an assistant coach for the Cleveland Cavaliers, and his former assistant coach, Jordan Ott, we saw a Shams report saying the Phoenix Suns are hiring Cleveland Cavs assistant coach Jordan Ott as the new Phoenix Suns head coach. Ott has been named an NBA assistant. He has been an NBA assistant since 2012, has a strong background of offensive and defensive creativity. So, any just sort of quick thoughts regarding Jordan Ott to the Suns?
I think it's a slam dunk getting a young mind in, because we went from Monty to Bud to Vogel. A lot of older guys that have been around a while. Just Jordan Ott hiring. Also with Johnny Bryant, both the assistants could be gone in Cleveland.
Yeah.
Apparently, Devin Booker was the one that wanted Ott.
Yeah, the Suns heavily involved him.
He signed off
coaching
on Ott.
search, which means he is here to stay.
Yeah.
So, Gia, what are your thoughts on that, kind of getting Book involved with all these big decisions?
Well, it shows that Book is committed to the Suns, and the Suns are committed to Book. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
It's interesting.
Is it a good thing? Because like player empowerment's here, but like not all players have that vision, and it could wind up flopping. Like we don't know. Mm-hmm. Just like when Kevin Durant, I don't know if Kevin Durant had any say when Steve Nash got hired, but does that give you any sort of concerns?
No. Player empowerment has always been a thing. Like if you go back to the 80s and the 90s, like even Michael Jordan had a say in who was going to be on his team. You know what I mean? So like it's not like anything new. So
yeah,
that's fair. Yeah.
Book. I don't know if Book is anything against Johnny Bryant. Maybe just because I don't think that's the case. Maybe he just had a preference.
Yeah, it's preference.
I'm sure they're both phenomenal what they did for Cleveland, obviously from this year. And Ott's gonna step in, and now that he's there, I think KD trades accelerate a lot more, because you want to bring in guys that Ott could get to work with right away. Mm-hmm. And draft night, we could see KD on a different team, maybe even during our live stream.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That would be cool. We'll obviously talk about all the trade rumors later on in the show, right before our finals predictions and everything of that nature. But, so congrats to Jordan Ott. That's big time. It's his first head coaching job, so we'll see how it is. He is a Nets legend, by the way.
Yeah.
So
and then there's one team remaining that has no coach, and that is my team.
Oh, yeah. They just fired Tibbs, so give it time.
We are the remaining team.
My guess is you'll have a coach by the end of next week.
Or this week. It's possible.
You got to get it done before the draft.
Oh, exactly.
Because if you don't get it done before the draft, then you're just kind of screwed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm sure Tom Thibodeau will find himself a job somewhere, whether that be a head coaching job or he gets an assistant. We'll have to see.
Or back in the studio.
Yeah, he could wind up doing the Michael Malone route and just working for like ESPN or NBC or whatever. I doubt it as well. Mm-hmm. But we'll just have to see. Alrighty, boys. It's time to recap the conference finals. Just to be straight up, we're not going to talk about the Wolves Thunder because that series was practically over when we talked about it last week.
Yeah.
And as we expected, they won in 5. You can go check out last week's episode when we talked ad nauseum about it. So yeah, congrats to OKC. We'll talk about y'all later on in the episode when we talk about the finals. Let's talk about the Eastern Conference Finals. The Indiana Pacers lost Game 5, won Game 6 to advance to their first NBA Finals since 2000, also beating the Knicks in the process to get there, which is pretty interesting. But yeah, I guess rather than just talking about the games, because, we all kind of knew how they went. They were pretty similar to the other games that happened early on in the series. So I guess we'll just kind of break it down by team here. We'll talk about the Pacers first, and then we'll kind of transition into the Knicks. So, Gio, I'll ask you, man, what did you see from Indiana in this series, specifically in these last 2 games?
Well, look, I just saw that they were just outright the better team. Top to bottom, they just outplayed the Knicks fully in Game 6 especially. I don't know, Siakam's just a hell of a player. Halliburton hell of a player. It's funny that Siakam got the MVP, right?
Yeah.
And Halliburton didn't get it. He thought he was going to get it, but he didn't.
Yeah.
It was kind of, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of satisfying to see that. I'm a little bit of a hater.
You're such
but-
a hater.
Siakam
for
was
no
the better
reason.
performer in every game.
I wouldn't say
It was close,
here's
bro.
The thing. Tyrese Halliburton had more iconic moments in the series.
He did.
The 3 good games Siakam had completely put the
Huge.
Knicks out of reach in the series.
Yeah.
That was my reasoning as to it. I also predicted Siakam back in October to get it. So
Did you actually?
Yeah.
yeah, I did.
Dude,
So
I don't even know what to say to that.
but
Played a lottery.
yeah, listen, bro. You're hating on the wrong person. Tyrese Halliburton is not who you think he is.
What do you mean?
Like you think he's this overrated, arrogant front runner, and
He's a little arrogant.
But you need to have some sort of cockiness, but he's not an arrogant sort of person like that.
He also talks funny, and I don't like it. But
So you're making fun of his voice now.
a little bit. But yeah. So I mean, those 2 guys especially, and then of course Neesmith. We've talked about him so much already in the past, like couple episodes.
Yep.
So like I don't know. It's just that the Pacers were just the better team. Outplayed them, especially on offense. Their offense is just too good. Can't really stop them, especially if the Knicks having one of the worst defenses in the league. It was already a bad matchup to begin with.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I think we kind of expected this, even though I picked the Knicks to win.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
It was wishful thinking and wishful picking, but
Fair.
I think I did expect the Pacers to win that, and credit to you for picking that months ago.
Thank you. Yeah, as soon as they traded for Siakam, because I just knew the player he was. Once they got him, I thought they could do something. And when the brackets came out last year, I knew they could make a deep run, and I thought they could beat the Knicks. I still genuinely think they were the better team last season, and obviously they were far and away the better team this season. And I tweeted out back in June. I said when they re-signed Pascal, I said low key if they stay healthy, because obviously Halliburton got hurt in the conference finals. I think they can make a finals run. And thankfully, all the pieces came together at the right time, because Halliburton was injured throughout most of 2024. He got banged up, and Neesmith was out for about 2 months with an ankle injury, and Nembhard missed some time. And then once the calendar flipped to 2025, they've been on an absolute heater.
Yeah.
They lost less than 20 games in 2025, which is just unbelievable.
Let me ask you a question though, Tyler.
Yeah.
So, back in October, when you made that initial pick for the Pacers to go to the finals and even win the finals,
Yep.
what were you thinking when it comes to the person? So you knew that Pascal Siakam will be a big time performer in order for them to win, and so would Tyrese Halliburton.
Yeah.
But what was that 3rd and 4th guy that you would have expected to step up 8 months ago or so, compared to now? Because we know now who those players are, but back then, who did you think those players would be to step up?
I'm glad you asked that, because remember when Tyrese Halliburton got hurt in Game 2 against Boston?
Yes.
Even though the Pacers choked away Games 3 and 4, they just didn't play good down the stretch. I saw something from 3 individuals specifically. It was Andrew Nembhard, it was Aaron Neesmith, and it was Rick Carlisle.
Okay.
And I'll start with Rick Carlisle, because it was clear, even in Game 1, Tyrese Halliburton just didn't have it. TJ McConnell was pretty much the best player on the floor for most of the second half, and he took him out. He closed the game with Halliburton. He shouldn't have. And Rick
This is last year, you're saying?
last
right?
year. Rick
Right.
Carlisle kept resorting back to his normal closing lineup rather than riding the hot hands. And because of that, Halliburton got a little bit overworked, and he wound up getting injured and everything like that. And this year, you can tell he's learning from his mistakes. And he's a champion head coach. He doesn't make mistakes very often, but with this specific team, first time in the playoffs with this team and everything of that nature, and you're seeing the adjustments he's making. He's dipping further into his bench than he did last year. He already played like an 8 or 9 man rotation. Now he's playing like a 10,
That's great.
which is insane for the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Neesmith and Nembhard both played outstanding in games 3 and 4 last year against Boston.
Right.
So that gave me the confidence that if they were healthy, they were going to really be good, because they're both your classic stereotypical playoff risers. They're both great defenders for their size and everything like that, and they both can shoot the lights out in the playoffs, not in the regular season.
Right.
Because they were straight bricks. They were shooting below 30%.
Yeah.
But those 3 specifically. And then I'm got to be honest, I did not expect this type of play from Miles Turner.
Okay.
Not one bit.
Okay.
He's proved me wrong. He shut me up.
So Neesmith you expected, and then so also
Nembhard.
Nembhard.
Yep.
Got it. Okay.
So, what do you think of the Pacers, Antoine?
Well, I would say their team is everything that the Knicks want to be, but are not, because the point guards are kind of similar. They both show up, but your shooting guards, big difference. Mikhail's the defensive wizard, supposedly. Nembhard is the better defensive wizard. OG is everything Aaron Neesmith's everything you want OG Anunoby to be, which is a defense and the 3-point shooting. Siakam's everything you want Cat to be, plus the defense, and then you have a center. We don't. Turn around, and then of course the biggest thing, the bench. So everything that is constructed, core in the Pacers, everything the Knicks want to be, but are not, because they're failing to be and building a team that is like them. Now, again, the Pacers also have the draft capital that they've drafted really good. Nembhard, MT, Mathurin, Jarris Walker, who, prayers up to Jarris Walker, look like he broke his foot in Game 6.
He sprained his ankle.
Never mind. All right, so he'll be fine.
He's probably going to miss he's missing at least the first 2 games of the finals. He's probably out the whole series.
Yeah.
It was a really bad ankle.
Shout out to him, man. I'm dealing with the same thing, but
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, of course, Hali, the trade for Siakam, McConnell coming in, as always. And just cohesively good team. Again, Thomas Bryant looks awful in the one game. Tony Bradley comes in. Thomas Bryant steps up Game 6 and shuts the door for the Knicks in that end of third and beginning of fourth quarter. So it's just calling on your players at the right time and, riding the hot hand for the players, which was Thomas Bryant in that game. Neesmith in Game 1, obviously, of course.
That was insane.
Yeah.
Nembhard, again, in Game 6, his defense looks significantly better on the guys, and it shows. Spicy P, of course, just all reliable. That's kind of the consensus for me. And just cohesively built team that's doing really well.
just
and
super well-rounded team.
it's going to be, to be honest with you, I think the finals is not going to be that close. I feel like OKC is too overpowered.
We'll talk about that later on in the show.
But I don't know. I don't think it's going to be that, one-sided, but
Okay.
it could lead to that. It depends on what goes on.
Okay.
But
Fair.
Indy, I think, proved a lot of people wrong, proved a lot of media people wrong, proved me wrong.
Yeah, prove
and,
you wrong.
Oh, yeah. Definitely.
And me too.
To be fair, you asked him a few weeks ago. He's like, you don't want to see Indy in the playoffs. He said, nah.
Wait, what?
You asked Anthony if he wanted to see Indy in the playoffs. And he said, no.
Oh, yeah, you did.
No,
Yeah.
but listen, they're building something there, and hopefully they can keep adding to it.
Oh, it's built.
And
Oh, it's already. You know what? They're still under the tax.
yeah, they can
Miles
keep adding
Turner,
to it.
Miles Turner's up for an extension. They're probably going to go over the tax for the first time to pay him. In fact, both teams are under the apron, both OKC and Indiana.
That's insane to
So,
think about, bro.
Do you want to hear some Indy stats on
me
the
hear
conference
it.
finals?
Yes.
All right. So, I think the biggest takeaway from last year, and Antoine always made it so prevalent that Andrew Nembhard could not guard Jalen Brunson. My guy tried so hard last year. He just, God bless him, he could not do anything. This year, after Aaron Neesmith pretty much couldn't guard him after Game 3 because he hurt his ankle, he just wasn't moving as quick. Nembhard held Jalen Brunson to 38% from the field and 30% from 3. Humongous difference. And even if you look back at the other series, he held Donovan Mitchell to 23% from the field, 16% from 3. And then he held Damian Lillard in the first round before he got injured to 23% from the field and 14% from 3.
Okay.
Humongous turnaround. Tyrese Halliburton in the Eastern Conference Finals. He only averaged 19 points, but he had 6.5 rebounds, 10.5 assists, 3 steals, and only 1.5 turnovers a game. And that stat's a little inflated because of that one turnover he had at the end of Game 1 when he just handed Cat the ball, and he had that zesty little half-court heave. Yeah, it was great. And then obviously Pascal Siakam, 25 points, 5 rebounds, 3.5 steals, and 1 turnover on 52% from the field,
Yeah.
50% from 3 in the conference finals.
Spectacular.
By far the most underrated player in the NBA is Pascal Siakam. I've
like
been
that.
saying this.
You have been.
I have been saying this.
And I think you're officially right. I think we can all admit that Pascal Siakam is officially the most underrated player.
Absolutely. And the other thing too, the Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals went 2-1 in clutch time games. They had a 96 defensive rating in those games. That's obscene.
Right. That's
Clutch masters. Out-clutched
defense.
the clutch player of the year in the entire series.
That's a big story right there.
Because look, in the first 2 games, Jalen Brunson had 2 clutch opportunities. He airballed and he hit the side of the backboard, or the end of the bottom of the backboard. So,
Damn.
so there you go, man. Indiana, I'm over the moon for them. They deserve this opportunity
They do.
to go to the NBA Finals, and
Yeah.
we'll talk later on in the show about what they can do against OKC and everything of that nature.
I hope they win. I'm just gonna say that.
Oh yeah,
I want them.
I think everyone outside of Knicks and Bucks fans and Thunder fans are obviously rooting for the Pacers. So it's really just about what can they do, and I'm excited to talk about this later on because I think we're in for a real treat with this NBA Finals. And I'm just glad that, it's always good to see Steve and I have a good old-fashioned crash out on First Take. And I love how Kendrick Perkins literally a week ago was like, the Knicks will win in this series in 5. And then just completely ducked all of it like after the Pacers won the series. Kind of like when the Nuggets won their championship and everything like that. He just failed to acknowledge anything about what he said. So yeah, it's awesome, man, and really just this whole playoffs. I'm trying to prove to you all season that this team was legit.
Look,
Every
man.
time I put them stupidly high on my ratings, you laughed at me,
We did.
and look who wound up.
I'll still laugh at it.
No, seriously.
I'll
Even if they
still
win, I'm
laugh at
still gonna
it.
be like, that was a bunch of like Pacers wizardry. Like, what are they doing?
The dark
Pacers-
magic is
dark
real.
magic.
It really is. But at the end of the day, all the narratives at the beginning of the season was that they were compared to the 2021 Atlanta Hawks. Their run was a fluke. The Knicks were completely injured. The Bucks were completely injured. That's all the narratives around the Indiana Pacers was that their run last year was fraudulent. And look, they faced a healthy Knicks. And remember what I said. This was the first test for the Knicks, and they failed it because they didn't play. This is the first time they didn't play an injured team.
Yeah.
So, and you could also say the same thing for Indiana as well. I'm not going to dismiss that because Dame was injured, but then again, Giannis was playing like literal God. And then, they took down a red hot Cavs team, and that was kind of that. So now we'll see what they can do in the NBA Finals. So let's transition now to the other end. Gio, what went wrong for the Knicks?
Everything.
I think we kind of semi talked about this, but a lot of things
did,
went
yeah.
wrong.
It was more so of Tibbs.
You're right.
Let's talk about the team.
So let's besides Tibbs, we're not going to talk about
players.
Tibbs.
Yeah.
Players alone, right? I would say what went wrong was Jalen Brunson. Even though the stats show that he played well, he didn't really play well if you watch the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, I expected him to be more of a shot maker, I guess. I expected him to be able to create for his teammates more. I expected him to be able to come through in the clutch because that's what he was known for. This is his regular season award that he got, was Clutch Player of the Year. So
Right.
those 3 things that I expected out of Jalen Brunson, I didn't get. Even though I did get the stats. I got, what was it, like 26 points a game that he averaged throughout.
Yeah.
Something around that. The stats were there. It's just when it mattered most and the clutch didn't come through. Obviously, the defense was pretty bad this series. Even though he's not known to be a bad defender, he's a solid defender. He draws charges. He can stick to his man usually. This series, it was terrible. So those few things, I would say, that kind of went wrong. Jalen Brunson, I'm going to focus on him. He's the leader of the team. So
Yeah, and I do agree in that sense. I just want to hear what Antoine has to say first because I don't know if it ties into what I want to talk about with Jalen Brunson. But in your opinion, Antoine, besides Jalen Brunson, what went wrong the most for the Knicks in this series?
I mean, I think Cat's the number one target for defensive reasons. How many open layups the Pacers got on fast breaks and cherry picks was immense. And you can't have that. I know Mitch, doesn't really get back on defense that fast because he's not fast.
he's
And
not
Hart
slow.
wasn't on the court because he got moved to the bench. I'm looking at the whole starting 5. I think everyone's at fault in their own ways for different reasons. McHale just for not being more aggressive, OG for inconsistencies, Hart for foul trouble, Cat for defense and foul trouble, Brunson for shooting and defense as well. Mitch for just no offense.
No free throws.
No, nothing.
It's everyone's at fault, and I feel like Cat's the biggest one because you need Cat to step up the most for shooting wise, and the foul trouble hurts. Brunson got into foul trouble. It's just it falls on everybody, and I think the bench not being deep, everyone getting run to the ground as we always say for Knicks just banter. It hurts, and that kind of how the cookie crumbled. I mean, the game 6 was really close. The first half was entertaining. It was close. Third quarter begins. I guess out of the locker room, no one was locked in, and the Pacers took off for like 10, 15 straight points, and that was the end of it. And game 6 was a lost cause after that because they weren't coming back because Cat had 4 fouls almost at the end of the third quarter.
That's rough.
Look,
Brunson had almost 4 as well at the end of the third quarter.
I mean, you were able to come back earlier on in the series from it was game 3, right, when the Pacers blew a 20-point lead.
Yep.
It's just, I mean, they were just exhausted. They had nothing left in the tank. I mean,
That's what you saw?
oh yeah. I mean, they've been exhausted. They were exhausted even in the Boston series. Just Boston had nothing left because they had no Tatum, and if Tatum was healthy, they could have come back. We will never know, obviously. But with this series specifically, if there's one team that you don't want to run into tired, it's Indiana. Because, I mean, they just run.
Yeah,
they run. Like, there was a play I saw, I think it was in game 5. Jalen Brunson made a layup. All 5 Knicks were inside the three-point line. There were 3 Pacers already past half court. Even after makes, they're still going to run down and beat you on the fast break.
They're fast.
The Pacers also outscored the Knicks by like 80 points on points off turnovers.
Yeah.
The Knicks, genuinely, that was some of the worst transition defense I think I've ever witnessed in my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, just free baskets left and right. And kind of what you said, Gio, about Jalen Brunson's defense. Jalen Brunson and Karl Anthony Towns were just serially hunted on defense. I mean, they were just hounded every single time. Every single time they switched, Jalen Brunson just couldn't switch off late enough. You saw Obi Toppin kind of go off and set, like, he would go to set a screen, and then he would just dart from it instead. And then that kind of left Brunson in no man's land, and Halliburton in a wide open 3 at the top of the key. It's plays like that where the Knicks just got meticulously just dismantled. They got outworked. They got out-hustled. They got out-coached. And look, I mean, this roster is a humongous problem. And this is not the time for that to happen because the East is wide open. I mean, even looking at next year, I wouldn't pick this team even against the Pistons next year. It's tough because right now in the East, there's like outside of Indiana, who would you say is like up there as far as contending? Because who knows what's going on with Milwaukee? Boston's not going to have Jason Tatum next season. Even if Toronto or Brooklyn gets a Giannis, I still really don't even trust them. And then what? You got Detroit, you got Cleveland, you got whatever's left of Philly. I don't even trust them.
No.
Yeah, you don't. It just depends what moves are made for those teams you just mentioned.
Yeah.
Who comes in, who goes out. I mean, we'll have a much more clear mind when we do our season preview.
Yeah.
But no, it's a big toss-up. And, Indy's in a good spot right now to repeat next year. We don't know if Cleveland could break it up. Boston, who they're going to bring in. Pistons will get better. That's no question about that. Philly, God knows what's going to happen there.
They're not making it past the second round no matter how good they play.
But yeah, I mean, completely opposite of the West. The West, we talk about how stacked it's going to be next year, as always. The East, we really have no. Gio's going to put them in third again next year, probably.
Oh.
Philly.
He had them second.
Oh, second. He's going to put them first next year.
Like, that kind of goes back, Gio, to what I was kind of saying, that Knicks team just wasn't, like, I didn't think the Knicks team was this good. And I think it kind of showed that, yeah, I mean, they did get a favorable matchup going against an inexperienced Pistons team in the first round. I think if they had gone up against Indiana, they would have lost. Or even if you had gone up against Milwaukee, if they had stayed healthy, maybe. But
That would have beat Milwaukee.
I think outside, I mean, games 1 and game 3, the Knicks won purely off of the Pistons just completely folding under themselves from inexperience. Obviously, game 6, Brunson was incredible down the stretch. Game 4, the Pistons should have won that game. And then in the second round, again, like I said, the Knicks allowed themselves to go down by 20 in like 4 of the 5 games or 4 of the 6 games.
Yep.
And Boston fell back into old habits of jacking up threes like they were going out of style. And then you lose Tatum midway through the series. So
No, it was the last game, right? They lost Tatum in the last game with like.
No, they lost him in game 4. Then Celtics blew him out in game
You're right,
5.
game
When
4.
Derek White and Jalen Brown went on that heater. And then game 6, the Celtics just didn't even. They should have just stayed in Boston, to be honest with you.
Yep.
Yeah.
But like I said, I still think the Knicks were kind of, I wouldn't call them frauds. They were a good team, but I didn't think they deserved to be a conference finals team. I don't kind of view them in that
'Cause
sense.
You definitely view Boston as a better team, of course,
Oh, yes.
but Knicks came to play. I think they deserve to be there
I'll
because of
credit
the way
them.
they played.
They fought.
So give them their credit.
They fought. I just didn't think they were as good as people advertised.
Right.
As the New York
That's
Knicks.
fair.
I think the way people talked about Indiana is basically what the Knicks are.
I agree with that.
I think they kind of flipped the narrative. It's because it's a big market. I understand the whole bias in that sense, but
Right.
from what I saw in this series, and I thought that the Pacers could have won in like 5 games, but I knew the Knicks would at least get 1, maybe 2, and yeah, that's just kind of is what it is. The Knicks have a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
And look, I feel really good right now having all their future draft picks because I think we're about to we might see it again because they've collapsed twice now in the playoffs, both in the second round in conference finals, both to the Pacers. You fired your head coach and your GM's made 2 stupid moves. Another playoff failure, and
Yep.
give us those lottery picks, baby.
Wow.
I'm waiting. And
Well, it depends. They can get half of those picks back, and depending on what happens with moves.
we're not giving them back to you.
No, from other teams.
No, but
Not
no,
you
but
guys.
but if you guys are bad, we're getting those picks.
They're not. I don't.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. I don't
You guys
think
could
that.
be a play-in team in 3. Like, did you honestly see after the Nets lost in the second round of the Bucks? Did you honestly expect them to be a play-in team the year after
The Nets lost to the Bucks. When are you talking?
in 2021?
So who was a playing team? The Bucks.
No, us.
The Nets were
The
playing.
season after we were a play-in team.
Oh no.
Exactly. So I think
Yeah.
crazier things can happen. So the Knicks could be like, for all we know, the Knicks could be a play-in team next year.
It's true.
So anything's really possible. The Celtics are probably going to be a play-in team if they don't replace Jason Tatum with anyone.
Ooh, I don't-
Nah.
No, they'll be fine.
So-
They're going to bring in the point.
Like I
guard.
said, crazy things have happened.
Yeah, we'll have to see.
Crazier things have happened.
will see,
So
man.
we'll see if the Knicks can kind of bounce back from this. But I'm really happy where we are specifically with
Yeah.
Brooklyn because not only do we have their picks, we got a damn good head coach, man. Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm excited.
Jordy, yeah, he's good.
I'm excited for us to just start playing competitively again, even though we're about to tank for one more season. But what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's kind of the gist with the Eastern Conference Finals. I mean, do you guys have any sort of any closing remarks for Minnesota or whatever's kind of like left of them?
I mean, Anthony Edwards just needs to grow up a little bit. Other than that,
He's only 23.
but still, this is the age where you start to expect some. He's a 5-year veteran now. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's not a young guy anymore. He's like, you're starting to enter the prime of your career
true.
when you get to 24 years old. You need to start maturing mentally because physically he can do anything he wants on the court.
Yeah.
Now we got to get that mental side going, and then he'll be all right.
Yeah. I think the roster is going to get retooled a little bit, and they're losing 2 big bench guys because they're FAs.
They'll get
We'll
one of them
see.
back, I think, but it really depends.
Do you think Minnesota will be back in this position next year?
In the conference finals, no.
No, semis.
This is purely based off how stacked the West is, especially if Giannis goes out west.
Goodness.
It's getting dicey out there.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see. Alrighty, it's time to get a little bit more fun on this show rather than talking about playoff series and everything like that. We had a special announcement today. Not every time we get a rebrand in the NBA and we get some new things unveiled. Obviously, we get the city editions every single year, but we saw, I think there was like a leaked article about, I don't know, a month or 2 ago that the Orlando Magic were going to change everything, go under a full rebrand, retool, overhaul of their logo, their uniforms, everything like that for next season. And this morning we got the big reveal, the big announcement. I got everything here. We're going to react to it and we're going to rate everything out of 10. So, have any of you seen any of this yet?
Nope.
I have, and I sent it in the chat, but Gio doesn't read the chat.
So I'm not surprised, and I'm definitely not surprised by you. So
Yeah.
we're gonna get a more authentic reaction here from Gio.
Yeah.
So obviously,
I purposely don't read the chat because of moments like this.
yeah, but you also kind of need to prep for stuff too.
Yeah, I know,
so
I
it's
know,
like, it's fine. But on the screen right now, this is the current timeline of what the Magic have had over the years. A lot of their alternate logos and main logos. So
Cool.
pretty interesting. My personal favorite's the one on the top right from 2000 to 2010. That
I
main
agree
logo.
with you.
I like the one on the
Absolute
top
fire.
left.
That's the old school one.
That's
Yeah.
really old.
So keep an eye on this one on the bottom left.
Oh, cool.
The
I like
1989 to 2000.
Yeah.
So are you ready to see the big logo reveal for the Orlando Magic?
Yeah.
Here it is.
It's
Okay.
exactly the same one as the bottom left.
Not exactly.
Not
Yeah,
exactly.
but that's similar. Yeah.
So Gio,
I'm
what
not
are your thoughts?
I don't know, man. This is like it's throwing me off a little bit. I mean, it's cool. It's I like the font, Orlando Magic. The colors are cool, I guess, but it's kind of basic. Just a basketball with stars, you know.
Kind of looks like the Raptors logo a little bit.
A little bit, yeah, it does actually.
They did darken the blue, which I do like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
It's like more of a royal.
More of a royal, kind of.
I like it.
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts, Antoine?
I mean, I'm a big fan of blue and black together, and the white, of course. Again, I feel like a logo that didn't take too long to put together. If I'm being honest with you,
The CEO spoke today. They said they've been working on this for years.
No way.
I mean, it's just modernized the bottom left logo. I mean, I could understand the placement of the stars and how they wanted it to be. But the basketball is not that hard to design, and Orlando Magic is probably just typed in that black overtone.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it.
I think what annoys me is the O and the R on top are so far spaced apart.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
Are they?
They are. A little bit.
Because you can see the distance between these two are a lot closer than the D and the O.
Correct.
So that's for the OCDs out there.
Yeah, I see that.
But what would we rate? What would we rate this out of 10? You can
I'll give
use
it a
decimals if you want.
7.
7?
Yeah.
I'll give it a 6.8.
Can you go 0.1 up?
I'll give it like
No.
a 7.5.
7.5? I'm going to give this, I actually do, I like it and I also don't. I'm going to give this like a 7.3.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
It's not bad. It's just a little on the plain side.
I've seen better.
Yeah, I like it better than their old one though.
You know what I do
Yes.
think though?
What?
I think Lance, our boy Lance, could have done a much better job.
Oh, of course.
I think he did redesign the Magic logo. If I could find it, I'll put it on the screen. If
Yeah.
not, then I'll figure something out.
Yeah.
But
Shout out Lance, yeah.
shout out Lance. So that was obviously the main logo. The next thing is the uniforms. So these are all 3 of the uniforms. We're going to go through each one individually. Just basic thoughts originally on what you're seeing.
Everything but that black one.
I like the black one.
The black one's fire.
I like the black one.
So we'll get to that in a moment.
I thought
though.
people were hating on that blue. That blue on the top.
Now that I'm seeing it again, the royal blue is, I don't like it as much on the jersey.
You're just not a blue fan.
No, the
Maybe I'm
royal
not.
blue looks great.
No, I don't know. I feel like on the court, it's not going to be the same. Like, I want a little bit lighter of a blue for the Orlando Magic. It just feels better for me.
Yeah.
But I do like the black one a lot with the blue on the top. I think that's going to be pretty cool to watch.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the rest of their branding.
nice.
So on the screen right now, this is all the main logos for the Magic. So on the top left is their primary logo. On the top right is their icon logo. You know how like the Clippers have the full logo and then it's just the C and the ship.
Yep.
So that's that version of that.
Got it.
Bottom left is their alternate logo.
Okay.
And then you have their text logos there.
Yeah.
So I like how they replaced the A with the star, kind of like they did back in the day with the Shaq, T-Mac, Penny Hardaway sort of days.
I like it.
I'm a huge fan of the alternate.
I do like the alternate.
The alternate is really good. And then the back to the old roots of the A replacing by the stars in both Orlando and Magic should be a staple. I shouldn't change that at all.
Yeah, I like the font on the bottom right
Yeah, the font's
logos.
I'm
The
not a
font is
huge
nice.
fan of the font.
I think it'll grow on you.
It might. I'll have to see it like in person, on a jersey or whatever. But what would we rate kind of the whole thing as?
whole thing?
Yeah,
all
out
the
of 10?
logos.
Yeah,
A solid 8.
I give it 7.5.
I'll give this an 8.5. I think this is more of a W rebrand than previous ones.
Okay.
Yeah.
I kind of like how we're dipping back into like the past,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kind of like modernizing it.
It's good.
So let's get into the
Exactly.
next slide here. This is what the court is gonna look like.
I like this a lot.
Yep. That
This is clean.
I actually like this a lot.
Yeah.
This is a 9 out of 10 court right here.
Hey, talk about it, man. What do you
can't
like?
even lie.
What do you like about it?
You know, initially that logo was like, it was given like a 6.8, but now that I see the logo on the court, it's a 9 out of 10 logo, man.
There you go.
Imagine pulling up from the stars, bro. Like,
There's
come
going to be
on.
discrepancies on what a logo 3 is going to consist of on either side of the court.
Right, true. But
That
look,
is true.
But think about like all the things that Mark Jones can say, like pulls up from the stars. Like, you know what I mean?
Oh,
Like
yeah.
his play on words is ridiculous.
It's
Anyways.
a supernova.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out, bro. We're going to get some good double bangs from
Remember when,
the White Stars.
Remember when Mark Jones was like, Russell Westbrook is on SGA like bronchitis. Wait, what did he say?
He's in his lungs like
in
bronchitis.
his lungs or in his chest like bronchitis.
Yeah,
That
it
had
was
me
something like
dying, bro. But no, yeah.
He always pulls out the lingo.
Yeah, he does. He's good with
It
that.
took a fortuitous bounce. Like,
I'm really trying to be like Mark Jones for real.
I'm trying to be like Kevin Harlan, bro. Did you see what he said in the second round? He's it's like,
yeah.
I'm wet, I'm
Oh,
dirty.
I know.
Did he do that on purpose?
No, because Brunson fell into him to try and save the ball from going out of bounds.
Yeah.
He got water all over him.
yeah.
That's what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why he was saying all that
Yeah.
nonsense?
It's Kevin Harlan. It's okay.
Yeah.
He's so innocent, though.
He really is.
Yeah.
So shout out,
yeah.
bro. But Antoine, what do you think of the court?
No, I love the court. I love blue and black and white and all together right here. And the paint looks phenomenal. The royal blue, of course, and the texture of the court itself.
Wait, why did I still think this was the Amway Center?
No, it's the Kia Center.
It's the Kia Center.
yeah.
Did they used to be Amway?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah, I think so.
Pretty sure.
Okay.
Yeah,
When did they
wrong.
change that? I'm sorry.
I'm going to look it up
Not
right
too
now.
long ago.
Because, yeah, obviously naming rights and stuff.
Yeah, but I love it.
Super competitive.
It's a solid 8.7.
I'm going with Gio, bro. This is like a 9 out of 10 court.
Fine,
Yeah.
bro.
It's fire.
I love this court. Yeah.
It's absolute W's because, like, I saw a picture of, like, the court in person. Yeah, you have, like, the cool designs, but the wood grain is, like, all unique. There's, like, it's not the same type of stuff.
Okay.
Which is pretty dope.
I like.
But yeah, that is the court.
Big fan.
Next slide. All right, so let's break down each jersey. This is the association jersey, the white. What do we think?
White is tough.
I love it. 9.5.
I'm always a big fan of the white jerseys. Like, I don't know which ones I don't know which jersey is going to be their home jersey, if it's the blue or the white.
The home is the blue.
The home is the blue?
Well, it's not home and away or anymore. It's just association, icon, and statement. They just
Oh.
they use whatever they want.
I don't like that. They should go back to home away, but it's okay. Yeah, I've always been a fan of the white jerseys. So
It was
I'll
the
give
Amway
this-
Center, by the way.
It was the Amway.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll give this jersey probably I'll give it an 8.
I'm gonna give this an 8.5. I don't like white jerseys, but this is how you do a white jersey.
Yeah.
I think it's also we're also from the New Jersey, New York area. We're biased towards pinstripes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So it always looks clean.
Exactly.
So all right, let's get into the icon jersey.
Again.
This is the blue.
Phenomenal. 10-10.
Wow.
Wow, he's giving it straight 10. I'm gonna give this a 9.
I'm gonna give this an 8. It's the same thing.
Oh my
in my
You just
opinion.
don't like blue,
I like white.
but you don't like blue.
I mean, blue's cool.
But it's
Cool blue.
dope. Blue's great.
Blue's cool.
That's crazy.
Blue's cool.
I love this one.
I like red. I'm a red guy, but yeah,
Yeah, you definitely seem like a red guy, even though Russell Westbrook only played in red for 1 season.
it's okay. Not 2 seasons.
I don't really count those Wizards jerseys. Those were ugly as hell. So the Wizards need to rebrand.
Yeah, they do.
Oh,
Oh,
here's
wow,
it.
they do.
Talk about another team, yeah.
That's a good one. I can't wait for that to happen.
That's going to be good.
That will be.
Ready to get into the next one?
Let's do it.
This is the statement jersey.
That one's better.
Again, I was seeing mixed threes on Twitter about that blue top half.
This is
like it.
modeled after the warm-ups that they used to use back
Yes.
in the 90s. It's the
Yeah.
exact same thing.
This is nice.
This
I'm
is
like-
incredible.
yeah. This is a 9.3 right here.
I'm giving this a 9.5 out of 10, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think I like the black. The black is sick.
Yeah.
And the Magic is not going straight; it's going kind of horizontal. And then the blue on the shorts.
Yeah.
I'll give it a 9.2.
Yeah. I mean,
9.1, 9.2.
have we ever seen a jersey that looked like this? This is
No.
like so original.
You got the combination of like the old school, just royal blue,
Yeah.
and then you got the old school 90s pinstripes in
Yeah.
black. And then you got we loved what Atlanta did this year with their city edition with,
Yeah.
I guess like the sash
Yes.
going across.
Yeah.
Yes.
Like that's what we want to see with these jerseys. This is
here it is.
Oh, that's
innovative.
true. Yeah.
And my biggest complaint with modern jerseys is that they're so boring, they're so templatey. And I guess you could say the first two are, but this one certainly is not. I mean, usually you'd see this out of a city edition, but this is essentially their alternate.
I love that.
So
I might
Yeah.
be watching the Magic more because like their jerseys are pretty appeasing to the eye.
they definitely are.
This one is.
They are aesthetically pleasing.
Very.
We'll wait for that city one because they used all three of their primary colors in these jerseys.
Yeah, so we'll have to see
what they do.
I mean, the city jersey doesn't necessarily reflect the primary colors. Like when
Yeah.
the last year Gordon and Vooch were there, they had an orange jersey because Florida is known for their oranges and everything. like
I would love to see some type of Disney World design in that jersey.
It would be cool, but I mean, Disney. You already got Disney all over the jerseys with the sponsors.
That's true.
So,
That is true.
but yeah,
right.
honestly, Orlando Magic, shout out y'all, job well done.
Yeah. W rebrand.
I wouldn't say it's better than the Clippers one, but I would say it's a close second.
Well, yeah, it's the most recent rebrands we've seen. So
Yeah.
I think the Clippers are pretty good because the Clippers started from pretty much nothing.
Well, yeah, because the old Clippers jerseys, in my opinion, were kind of dog.
Yeah.
So they needed the rebrand badly. So
Yeah.
I'm curious to see what's next. I know Indiana kind of floated the idea of either going back to their old school 90s stuff or their past two city editions as their home and away with the current gold, which is they're wearing now in the NBA Finals as their statement. So, do we have any sort of final thoughts regarding the Orlando Magic rebrand before we get into the next segment?
No, let's roll.
Alrighty, we got some more breaking news to share. Well, I guess not really breaking news, more of a developing story that's kind of going on. So this is going to be a trade rumors segment because we've obviously got the draft in about, 2 or 3 weeks from now. And usually that's when big moves happens, like the Mikal Bridges trade and all that good stuff. So we'll put a tweet on the screen from the Hoop Central. Report, the Phoenix Suns are aggressively trying to trade Kevin Durant, and he is expected to be moved by the NBA draft.
Yeah.
Big news. This could happen. This could happen at any point, to be honest with you. It could even happen tomorrow. Probably won't. But I guess just general thoughts on this report.
Oof. Yeah, I guess this coincides with their coaching cycle. Maybe they want the new head coach to work with the new players, and they don't want to have that situation going on. And apparently they've lowered his value. I don't know how much lowered means because we don't know. Maybe like one less draft pick. Who knows? But we'll see. I know Houston's on it. I think that's the biggest thing we know right now is that Houston's on it. I don't know who else. And we'll see.
I mean, there's a few teams in the mix. I know Minnesota is willing to give up assets for him.
Yeah, I saw
Talk about that. I mean, Ant's idol is literally Kevin Durant.
That'll be cool.
I mean, Gio, I'll ask you, just potential fits besides, Houston and Minnesota, anything? Anywhere you want to see him?
I mean, where I would want to see him?
Yeah.
Put him in Denver.
Oh,
I knew you were going to say that.
Reunite him with Westbrook. I mean, the Nuggets
Russ
need...
has to stay, though.
Russ is going to stay.
I don't know if he will.
I hope so.
I don't know.
I hope he will because, I mean, it would be wise if he did stay. But I think the Nuggets do need a player like Kevin Durant to take some of the load off Jokic. Someone who could, catch and shoot, but also create his own shot. The Nuggets need that type of player, but I don't know. It's definitely not going to happen. But
probably not.
I mean, that's something where I would want to see. That'll be interesting. That'll be cool to see.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I've seen.
What about back in OKC?
Back in OKC? Well, I mean, if they win the title, he's probably going to go to them. But I would hope not. If he does it again, I don't know what to say. Because,
he should just do it for the troll. He should just troll everyone.
Honestly, just take the absolute piss and do it. Even if Indiana wins, just go sign a vet minimum with them. Just do that. That'd be hilarious.
He should tweet out right now, the winner of this finals, I'm going to their team.
My next chapter.
My next
pictures.
Lord.
And look, there's even some reports. He doesn't want to go there, but there's some reports that the Knicks are interested in Kevin Durant.
I know. That's why, maybe he didn't want to work with Tibbs.
Maybe. Cat's the one that's been known to clash with Tibbs, and this is the second time now he's been fired on his team. So I guess then I'll ask the Knicks fan, Gio, what do you think of Kevin Durant going to the Knicks?
Oh, that's beautiful. Run it back.
We already know Kevin Durant doesn't want to go there.
Yeah, it would break my heart.
It's not going to happen, but that would be cool. I mean, it would be weird. I'll say that because if Kevin Durant is going to be in New York, it only feels right for him to be in Brooklyn. It doesn't feel right for him to be in New York. You know what I mean?
Exactly, because you know what? That's just the best team in New York, man.
Not necessarily, but
hey, listen, man.
Not yet. They got a good future, though. You see all the picks they got.
Yeah, dude.
They got a good future.
At least his team has a head coach.
That's true.
Yeah, look at this fake Knicks fan over here.
Yeah.
Yeah, for now we don't have a head coach. We're coachless.
Yeah. But I don't see the fit in New York.
I wouldn't. Yeah, I don't.
To be honest with you,
really
I think there's only 2 spots he's going to.
Where?
He's either going to Minnesota or he's going to Dallas.
Ooh.
Oh, Dallas is a good fit.
Why Dallas?
Because Nico Harrison, I think he wants Kevin Durant.
Oh my gosh. Who's he going to trade for them?
It'll be like PJ Washington, Gafford,
AD,
or whoever.
Max Christie.
What about Cooper Flag?
No.
No.
Honestly,
Max
if Nico Harrison trades Cooper Flag,
could you imagine?
If he trades Cooper Flag, he should be sent to the 5th ring of Saturn and to not even think twice.
Yeah, I mean, you bring back Kyrie and Katie together for one last ride.
My teacher used to say,
Kyrie's not playing next season.
Well, last ride out of the year after.
Because he's on an expiring contract, I think, next season.
Yeah.
So I think Minnesota makes the most sense, right? Because Jaden McDaniels has proven that he cannot move with SGA. He's a little too slow. Is physical, but is a little bit. He's kind of built like me in a sense that he needs to be built like you. I'm not calling you fat. I'm just saying I'm just insanely skinny. But I think he would kind of be collateral with with that trade. And if you roll out a lineup of whatever's the point guard, whether it's Conley, Rob Dillingham, whoever, Anthony Edwards, Kevin Durant, and then you roll out. If you keep,
Reed.
I mean, Randall might have to go, so you may be able to keep Naz Reid. Start Naz Reid with Rudy Gobert. I love the spacing there because Rudy Gobert is the only non-shooter on the floor, which would be good.
That's a fire lineup.
It's a great lineup.
It's a championship contender.
Yeah, Giovanni Squatteri calling a Rudy Gobert anchored defense championship contender. You know what?
Besides
a round
Rudy,
of applause.
you can trade Rudy. You can trade Rudy.
No, let's not do that.
Trade Rudy. Put in who's their backup center?
Naz Reid. He would keep Randall.
It would be Luka Garza, but Rudy Gobert is the most complicated player to trade because his role on Minnesota is so hard to replace.
Don't trade him, obviously.
Yeah. I know deep down you think he's a good player.
I don't think he's good. I think he's just...
No, you think he's good?
There's a role to fill, and he can fill that role.
Yeah, but he just happens to also be a first ballot Hall of Famer.
God.
So,
I hope not.
I love the fit there rather than Houston because I think Houston just needs a better upgrade on Jalen Green.
Yeah.
I think if you can get even Devin Booker would be great, or what other shooting guards you think could be available?
Donovan Mitchell.
Donovan Mitchell kind of has the Embiid thing of not getting out of the second round. You've seen Rudy Gobert get farther twice in a row without him. Yeah. So,
what if you just keep Jalen Green and just run it back with the young kids?
Look.
I just want them to trust the process.
Bro,
play it out.
What happened to the last team that trusted the process?
Okay,
exactly.
I'm not talking about Philly. That's a different,
but
different
it's the same
scenario.
Moniker.
No, the Philly, the Sixers, you can't. They suck. Okay, I'm talking about this Rockets team. I think this Rockets team has a lot more potential than that Philly team.
You sure about that?
I do. I'm very sure. And
that Philly team
was insane, and they were literally that close to going to the finals if Kawhi didn't hit that shot.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So that Philly team actually should have been in the finals and probably should have won a final. You know what I mean?
They probably wouldn't have beaten the Warriors.
It would have been close, I'll tell you that.
Because that Toronto team was insane.
Yeah, they were good.
Yeah.
But still, I think Rockets should run it back with the young guns. That's all I'm going to say.
What are you doing over there?
I have no idea.
Bro's doom scrolling mid-pod.
That's crazy.
I have no idea what that was.
Bro just got caught in 87K.
Gio.
No, don't even try.
Enough KD.
Don't even
Let's
try.
get to the next player.
But
that's why I'm doom scrolling, because we're talking about KD for 10 minutes. Let's go to the next player.
Let us know down in the comments where you want KD to go. Where do you think he's going to go? Let's get into the next one. This one's big. This one's got a lot of implications to a special person of ours. That Giannis Antetokounmpo and the Toronto Raptors reportedly have mutual interests in a potential trade. Now, there is some history here regarding these two. A tweet from Bleacher Report we're going to put on the screen from 2019 saying that Raptors president Masai Ujiri helped Giannis get his Greek citizenship and jumpstart his career growing up. Giannis is still thankful ahead of him when they made the Eastern Conference Finals. He said he's an unbelievable guy.
Yeah, I forgot. What was I watching today? I think, was it Wendy? Someone asked Wendy on either was NBA Today or Sports Center, and he was saying that everyone's keeping an eye out for Toronto to make a move, but he didn't say who. But they're looking at Toronto, and it could be Giannis. You can move Scotty Barnes.
No way.
You can move a lot of people. You got to move Scotty.
He has a point because everyone on the Raptors is not untouchable.
I think Scotty's untouchable.
No,
I think they might.
Scotty's expendable.
Every single person on that roster, just like New Orleans, is available for trade.
Yeah,
I think they should be.
Because let's be brutally honest. Both teams are the exact same. They have one young star with a lot of potential and a bunch of just ass.
The only untouchable is actually Brandon Ingram because they just signed him.
Well, they physically can't trade him until
that sucks.
July 1st.
Yeah, if I'm Milwaukee, Toronto intrigued because the young players they could give up, Pirtle,
they have
Scotty,
they have
Quickly, RJ,
Mitchell.
That's a lot more. That's a lot more appeasing than the Knicks, than Dallas.
Mitchell's on the Heat.
Oh, he's on the Raptors.
Remember
he oh, you're right. Yeah.
Like
I forgot.
Quickly, RJ, Grady Dick. Who else? They have a lot of rookies that were good this year too. But that whole Scotty, RJ, Quickly, Pirtle,
and I think that makes,
whole group.
It makes more sense because Milwaukee has no draft capital because they gave it all away for Damian Lillard, and you're looking at a situation where you need to retool because you can't tank because other teams are going to get your picks. So rather than getting the draft capital from OKC or San Antonio or whoever. Toronto has pieces where, when Dame eventually comes back, or you can even move Dame for other guys, where you're actually able to build you don't need an all-time great team to get to the finals in the East. You don't. The East is wide open. You could trade for okay players. Like if they trade Giannis for Scotty Barnes and you get a couple other of those guys, and then you trade Dame for someone that can help you, lift this team back up, there's potential.
Yeah.
I wouldn't rule them out.
But would the Raptors trade Scotty Barnes away?
Yes.
100%.
Why?
They would.
For Giannis?
Yeah.
I don't think that's smart.
Because
You're trading away your future for a guy that probably has 4 good seasons left.
I think Giannis has got a lot more time than just 4
More
years.
than 4?
It's like 30. Giannis is one of the best players in the world.
Yeah, but his game is all physical dominance, and we see players like that. Once they can't dominate you physically, their career tends to go.
I don't think he's ever reached that point.
You don't think so?
No.
Well, Shaq reached that point at 34.
Shaq was
a couple other players.
Shaq was incredibly overweight. Giannis is one of the best. He's a freak. He's literally a unicorn.
I can understand not wanting to part with Scotty because homegrown player, your lottery pick. But when you get throwing Giannis, I don't think the fans care about Scotty anymore.
Well, because that's the thing too.
Are you kidding me? We got to bring on Fetty.
Oh no!
I'm not talking about this from a Raptors fan perspective. I'm talking about this from a business perspective. In the sense that Giannis is unlike any other trade piece. You can't even throw Luka in that category because Nico Harrison's an idiot. But a player like that, you have to pay the premium price. They're not going to want Emmanuel Quickley and R.J. Barrett in picks.
Yeah, no.
They want Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
That, like I said, you have to make those sacrifices. Like when the Clippers had to give up SGA to get Paul George, the Kings had to give up Tyrese Halliburton to get Sabonis. There's moves like that have to be made. The Suns didn't.
Also, go ahead, finish. Please.
Oh yeah, I was going to say the Suns, but they didn't give up anyone like that.
Also, Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett got you OG Anunoby.
Who?
Emmanuel Quickley and RJ Barrett got you OG Anunoby.
RJ Barrett, yeah.
The difference between OG and Giannis is miles more. So Scotty definitely has to be in that trade.
Well, yeah, I mean, look, if the Raptors get Giannis, you don't want to have Scotty on the same team as Giannis because they practically do the same thing.
I don't like
so it
that
wouldn't make
spacing.
sense. It's no spacing, right? They do the same thing. They're just big forwards that could play point guard.
Yeah.
So it wouldn't make sense. I mean, if you're going to do it, you have to trade Scotty away for 2 reasons, right? Because the Bucks wouldn't want anything less,
Right.
and also because it wouldn't be a good fit together.
Exactly.
So I understand that, but if they do trade for Giannis, are they a win-now team? And what must they do to make themselves a win-now team if they're not?
Let me actually find the tweet I was talking about.
Well, if you trade for Giannis,
I'll give you the hypothetical roster that was
you
made.
would have a BI Giannis scenario.
Okay.
You would have
Who the guard be?
I would think Grady Dick would stay. I don't think that
He's not a guard, though.
He's a shooting guard.
He's not a point guard.
He's like a small forward kind of.
Their backup point guard is Jamal Sheed now because Davion Mitchell's gone.
I don't know who the hell that is.
Your center would still be Pirtle unless you don't move him.
Okay, I found it. So I mean, yeah, the Pirtle Giannis spacing's not great, but imagine a lineup of Emmanuel Quickley, Ochai Agbaji, Brandon Ingram, Giannis, and Jakob Pirtle.
No one can shoot except for Brandon, and even Brandon has inconsistent nights.
Quickly and Agbaji can shoot.
Quickly, nobody.
Even they're streaky.
It's just like Giannis was historically great from the mid-range this year. So that gives me some promise for him going forward. It's the spacing with Jakob Pirtle isn't great. They'd grab a ton of rebounds. They'd grab every rebound the Earth had to offer.
Right.
But
defensively, they'll be solid.
Right. I don't think they're a win-now team. I don't think they're a championship or bust team. But
they would get to the play-in top 6.
Oh, they'd make the playoffs for sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I say have some delayed gratification. Continue to develop Scotty. Draft around him. He's still super young and he's super promising.
Yeah.
So I don't see why they would draft for Giannis. Trade for Giannis.
If I was the Raptors, I wouldn't really want to blow it up right now.
No way.
It's tough unless you get a sweetener in the deal.
The East sucks anyways. The Raptors are going to be a playoff team. Well, mark my words.
We'll see.
They will be a playoff team next season.
That's going to be tough. I'm ready for him to put him in the play-in October and just completely forget.
Yeah, I'll do play-in in October, exactly.
The Raptors have been a serial play-in team since winning the championship, essentially. I mean, after the bubble, they kind of had 2 cracks at it. They failed, and they traded away OG and Pascal months apart from each other.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, it's not really I don't really see it happening. I think it would be essentially a lose-lose for both teams because they're going to give up the Indy picks that they got for Siakam, and he's going to be great for the next however many years. So those picks are not going to be that good,
Right.
Because they're not, they're not so far down the line like the Knicks picks. The Nets have the Knicks picks till 2031.
Right.
I think the Pacers picks expire in like 28. So not great, essentially.
Yeah.
So do we have any other final thoughts on Giannis? Do we have is there a preferred destination you want to see him at?
Stay with the Bucks.
I don't really know right now, top of my head.
I think it's really complicated for Giannis to move because, anywhere you move, the team's going to get gutted, and you're going to really have to rely on
Exactly.
a lesser team.
Exactly.
So, let's get into the final guy. This should be pretty quick, but this does have a lot of implications for a certain set of teams. Odds came out for Trey Murphy III. Obviously, we had a breakout season this year. Did get injured, tore his labrum, but he'll be back to normal by the start of the next season. The top team in the odds for Trey Murphy III is the Denver Nuggets.
Oh, yes.
That's
I remember
very
that.
beautiful to hear.
Yeah, but
Go ahead.
But team right behind them, Denver Nuggets are set at plus 500. Team behind them, plus 700, is the San Antonio Spurs and the Indiana Pacers.
Oh my goodness.
Oof.
If the Spurs get him, bro, oh my gosh.
I love Trey Murphy. I love his game. Denver is really good because you just move MPJ and slot him right in.
Yeah.
It's not that hard. Indiana, I don't know what you would give up.
Mathurin, Jarris Walker, and
Yeah, they got plenty to give.
Yeah, Mathurin. And then you said San Antonio can move anybody.
I think that makes more sense because they're going to have to overpay Mathurin on his extension anyways. And Jarris Walker's
Exactly.
not getting the minutes. He's probably not going to play in the finals.
Wow.
So
That's a good idea, yeah.
I think he would fit the best there because he would probably win a sixth man of the year with the
Wow.
Pacers because he's not going to start.
Right.
No, I would start him.
Who over who?
Over.
Neesmith.
No,
Yes.
no.
You don't take Trey Murphy off the bench.
Have you seen the way Neesmith has been playing?
That's close, but I would start Neesmith.
I'd still
I
start.
don't know.
Neesmith.
You don't take Murphy off the bench. That's a starter. You prop him into your 3 or 4 spot.
Neesmith is more proven, I guess, right?
Neesmith
That's
is
why San
proven.
Antonio or Denver work a lot better.
He would clearly start for Denver, but
Yes.
there's implications because if you trade for Trey Murphy, you might have to give up Christian Brown.
No. I think MPJ gets that done.
No, they don't want just MPJ.
Well, you'd have to throw in
MPJ and Pickett.
and Zeke and Zeke, not Christian Brown.
That deal won't get done without Christian
don't
Brown.
think so?
I'll tell you that right now.
But you got to get more than Trey Murphy back.
Well, yeah, my guess is they'll probably go for either. They probably won't get Herb Jones, but they'll probably get Trey Murphy, maybe like
If they get Herb Jones, that'd be
Herb
a little
Jones, too,
century.
yeah,
maybe
exactly.
maybe Eve Misi if they
No,
don't want to keep
I don't
him.
think they would. They
Yes.
would move
There's
UBC.
everyone on the OKC, everyone on the New Orleans roster is up for sale.
I would
Every
move-
single person.
I don't know.
If they get Herb Jones, wow, that would be a blessing.
I'm just worried about his injury health because he's very constantly banged.
I would take Jordan Hawkins back.
Jordan Hawkins.
I think, but they have too many of that kind of player. I think you need a backup 5 for Jokic. I think
I would think Yves Misi's great.
I would much rather them clear the cap and sign Steven Adams, but they won't do that. But Steven Adams could wind up in Indiana. We don't know.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think if you can get both Trey Murphy and Yves Misi, Denver's right back up at the top
That's
of the
a
West
dub.
End.
How good is Eve Misi?
He was all rookie this
Look,
year.
you just need someone to just hold down the 5 minutes
And he
Jokic
can
is
do
off
that.
the floor in each half. He's 7 foot. He's definitely
capable?
can do it. He's
Okay.
definitely going to do a better job than DeAndre Jordan.
Okay.
He's going to do whatever the hell the ghost of Dario Saric did.
But then Deron Holmes.
Well, yeah, they have DeRon Holmes coming back, but he's off a torn Achilles, so you can't really
Yeah,
put
you
that
can't
much
trust
pressure
that.
on him. He's going to be on a minutes restriction for the latter part of the season. So
Yeah, I like it. Look, Brown, he's a good player, but Denver needs to shake some things up here.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm not
Saying
against him
that.
trading away Brown.
that's totally fair to say, especially because after the season he might be up for like $100 million extension.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Right.
Or you give a Peyton Watson. That could be the other thing, but
I like Peyton.
it's hard. I'll read you the rest of the odds.
Yeah.
The Detroit Pistons are plus 750.
That's not bad.
That'll be a cool spot. I think him and Cade would really flourish together.
Okay.
Especially because Cade's playmaking leap is obscenely
Right.
good. You got the Clippers at plus 800, the Lakers at plus 850, the Miami Heat at plus 900, the Raptors, the Celtics, and then the Mavs are long shot odds.
Right.
Kind of along those lines.
Interesting.
Okay. Yeah, this is going to be a crazy offseason.
That's what Sham said all along.
I'm ready. I'm so ready. We're going to have so much content.
It's gonna be great, man.
Yeah.
I love off-season. Free agency is my bread and butter.
Yeah.
So is draft.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's cool that like I'm directly involved with the draft now that my team has a pick.
Right.
Because usually we've just picked late first round, like guys that will be okay.
You mean 4, not 1. 4 first rounders.
Well, we have one in the lottery.
Yeah.
And
Brooklyn's number 8?
8, yeah.
Okay.
And we might package together 2 of the picks to move into another lottery pick.
Do it.
We don't know.
Yeah.
I'd love to swap with Utah at 5 if they're willing to, because I have a feeling the guys we want at 8 are not going to be available by the time it gets to us.
Again, I'm excited for draft night. Let's have all Shams notifications off. And
I don't have them on, so
we'll just focus right on the TV
yeah.
and see who gets picked right then and there.
Don't worry about me. I'll be under the rock.
Let me leave you with this, Gio.
Yeah.
Let me actually pull up the whatchamacallit, the tweet, because it actually was like, it would have been it's so cold. I just got to find it because I forgot to bookmark it. It was a tweet from one of my guys in Nets World, because the Nets are actually, the last thing we'll mention, the Lakers want Nick Claxton. They're heavily linked to him.
Okay.
The Nets want Dalton Connect. So
Yes.
imagine we get Jeremiah Fears in the draft. We have Connect 4, 0 Fears, Aura.
I don't get
Connect
it.
4,
Oh, wait.
0 fears.
Because if he wears number
I
0.
like that.
Yeah.
Oh, 0 fears.
I like
Yeah.
that. That's
I
kind
get-
of cool.
yeah, that's not bad.
You know, I just realized it was Connect 4 all this
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I get it now.
Also, I'm glad this is why the games are played, because when the Luka trade happened, I was dying to have Austin Reeves on the Nets. No, thank you. I'm good. I watched that man against Minnesota. I'm okay.
He's
Well,
not that bad.
Not everyone has some dogs like Minnesota, especially in that series.
Still, but
I
we
think
saw
Austin Reeves is
Yeah.
still a very good player.
on.
Yeah, but I just don't think he fit. He's kind of the same thing as Cam Thomas.
Yeah.
I'd rather not have the redundancy.
You're right.
piece. I think Dalton Connect provides something for
Yeah.
us, especially as an older rookie. We specialize in that department.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, do we have any final thoughts regarding free agency? Any other things you want to say?
No, let's roll.
All right, so basically what's going to happen now is we're going to talk about the NBA Finals. We're going to do our full predictions, everything of that nature. However, it is 11 p.m., so we're going to talk about this tomorrow. But for y'all, it's going to be a half-second transition. So we hope you have a wonderful rest of your night, get some good sleep, and we'll see you all tomorrow in the next 5 seconds. Alrighty, it's the next day. We're locked and loaded, and we're ready to talk about the 2025 NBA Finals. We are finally here. It's been a very long season. It's been a lot of fun. Lots of stuff going on in the league. Should be a fun summer. But right now, we got to lock in because it's time to see who will win 2025 NBA title. Got a championship up for grabs here between the OKC Thunder and the Indiana Pacers. Now, these are two teams that have consistently been here at the top in the year 2025. They have the two best records in the start of the year. They're both top 2 in turnovers, as far as like turning over the ball the least. And they're actually the only 2 runners-up in the NBA Cup. So both of them have had championship opportunities in air quotes, and they've both lost it. So we'll see if they learned anything from those experiences. One team will, the other one won't. So obviously we're going to save our predictions for sort of the end of this segment. So for now, we'll just kind of talk about the series. I'll go to you first, Gio. Just what are your thoughts on this sort of the series, this matchup between these two great teams?
Yeah, I'm super excited to watch it because, as we know, it's the best offense against the best defense. The only issue here is the best defense is historically great.
Yeah.
The best offense is, they're good, right? But I don't know. It's everyone's saying it's Thunder in 5. It's gonna be a lopsided series, but I'm not on that train, honestly. I think both of these teams are very good, and I think the Pacers are actually significantly underrated. I think they also have guys that are tall, strong, and fast, just like the Thunder have. So
Yeah.
we're gonna see some really good competition here. So I'm excited for it.
What about you, Antoine?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm being a little biased because I feel like it's going to be OKC runoff and then it's going to be the whole series. But I mean, it could go either way depending on a few things. It could be OKC's defense crumbling, or Minnesota. Oh my God, Minnesota. Oh my goodness.
Indiana.
Indiana's offense elevating. So it depends. I feel like tomorrow's game one's going to tell a story, and we'll see what the story is. Because I feel like that's how it always starts off. I'm excited to see the rise of the young stars for OKC being Chet, J-Dub, SGA, of course. Indiana, we know Hali's rise this past year and how they're doing. We're seeing Spicy P back in the finals. Right, he was in Toronto for that final run, right?
Yeah,
Spicy.
he had an incredible he had an incredible series in that finals.
Yeah, we're seeing Spicy be back at where he thrives, and I'm excited for. I think we're gonna see a lot of faces in this finals come to life that we haven't seen come to life, and that could be certain bench guys, that could be certain starters coming off.
Who are those guys for you on each team? Who's going to come to life that hasn't yet?
For me, OKC, I am heavily invested on the offensive jump from Chet Holmgren. Okay. And I think maybe I'm too focused on his Gonzaga days where he was the alpha on that team.
Yeah.
And I understand that NBA is a different beat, but I know Chet can put up numbers. And I want to see more offensive output from him because I love his game. And I think that is important for them. We know J-Dub and SGA is scorer. The bench, for so on and so forth. For Indiana's side, it's tough because I know Benedict Mathurin is could be the talking point for trades in the offseason because of his contract being up, but he could score.
Oh, yeah.
And
he's a bucket.
Before his injury last year, he did start for that Pacers team in his rookie year, and he was in the he didn't win rookie of the year, did he? No, he didn't.
No, he got injured.
He was in the top 3, and everyone was loving his game.
Yeah,
so I want Mathurin to really start scoring more, and maybe he'll get his money in Indiana to stay or somewhere else. Who knows? But Mathurin, I'm high on. He's a guy that needs to step up and score like he did his rookie year, and also during the season as well. He did have some really good games for them. And being a lottery pick in only his 3rd year, they needs to show more promise going into his 4th year.
What pick was he?
He was the 6th.
Who?
6th pick?
Mathurin, yeah, he was 6th overall.
6th overall.
Good memory.
He went to Zona, I think.
Yeah, I feel like that everyone on the Pacers starting 5 has stepped up. I think I'm looking for Mathurin to do a little bit more.
I agree with that, actually.
Yeah, because he left a lot to be desired against the Knicks, which is, it happens. He
showed some flashes, though.
Yeah, because he had a great first 2 series, but in that Knicks series, the Knicks figured him out, and then he figured himself out, and then figured the Knicks out. So, but who are those guys for you, Gio?
I mean, I agree with that for the Pacers. I think Mathurin was a guy. That was a guy I already had in my head previously.
Yeah.
I think he's going to be forced to have more playing time in this series simply because of matchups. Okay. I feel like he's a guy. He's strong. He's, like I said, strong, fast, and tall. Yeah. That's literally what the OKC Thunder are. So they're going to need to play him more. It's going to be less of, maybe not less of McConnell, but less of McConnell, if you know what I mean.
I don't know, man. He always just finds a way.
He does find a way.
I feel like they're going to share the court a lot together.
They will.
With that second unit.
Yeah. And maybe McConnell's going to be the guy because he hasn't really been, his usual self that we saw last year in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So maybe he will be the guy to step in the finals.
It would be great if it was him, but it's probably not. You're going to get the consistent linear performances from TJ McConnell, I think.
Yeah. Well, what do you think about the Pacers, though? Who's going to be the guy?
For me, I mean, I just don't know what you're going to necessarily get of both Benedict Mathurin and Thomas Bryant. It's really tough, and a lot of pressure's on Thomas Bryant now with Jarris Walker out. But to me, I feel like this is really going to come down to Andrew Nembhard because Andrew Nembhard is going to have to guard. I mean, Nesmith and Nembhard are guarding SGA and J-Dub. Just a matter of who does what. And you saw Andrew Nembhard had a historically great shooting series against the Bucks, and he played really well against the Cavs. Struggled a lot versus the Knicks. Couldn't really hit his shots, but he was clamping up Jalen Brunson. So, you don't expect him to do that same thing to SGA, but, maybe instead he does take that bit of a scoring leap because I think he's a little too small to guard J-Dub. I think he'll probably start off on SGA, and then Nesmith will start off on Williams. But
I think Nesmith goes straight to SGA.
I hope he does.
The same thing.
It's just I don't know if it's just because Nesmith's ankle. That's the only reason why I'm
he looks
a little
fine.
unsure.
I feel like Nesmith's speed is complementary to keep up with SGA. I feel like Nembhard with J-Dub could work, and then of course we don't chat on Siakam, Turner on Hartenstein, and then Hali, Dort.
Dort, yeah,
that'll be kind of how it is.
Dort's not gonna drive. You could hide Hali easily there because Dort's literally just going to just space the floor and shoot.
Yeah.
But for me, I think Nembhard has a factor. I'm really excited to see Miles Turner play in his first finals because there's one specific thing we saw last year, and he has the chance to do it again this year. What did I always tell you? Who got played off the floor in the Knicks-Pacers series towards the end of that series?
Last year?
Yeah.
It was Randall.
Nope, he was injured.
Oh, Randall was injured. It was Brunson.
No, Brunson.
Hartenstein.
Isaiah Hartenstein.
Yeah.
Isaiah Hartenstein, Rick Carlisle made the adjustment, and Isaiah Hartenstein was rendered almost useless in games
Yeah.
5, 6, and 7.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's a different coach now. I think Dagnall and Thibodeau are kind of in the same tier as far as coaching goes. Dagnall just has a lot of depth that he trusts. And here you got Rick Carlisle with that Turner-Hartenstein matchup. I'm really curious to see how this goes because Isaiah Hartenstein's probably going to punch him in the face, figuratively. And then I think there's going to be an adjustment, and I think Turner's going to find a way to win that matchup. But it's all on him.
Yeah, I also feel like I haven't watched a lot of Hartenstein, but I feel like just from like the box scores, Hartenstein has not been like, I guess, as prolific as he was with us last year. And
It doesn't need to be.
That could be, yeah, because
Exactly.
it's a different team, exactly. So what he does in OKC is completely different than what he does with us.
Right.
But not to knock his game. I'm sure Hartenstein will do just fine in the finals. He's always going to bring the energy and raise that team
Definitely.
up. And then the benches are deep. It's both teams that have the deepest benches in the league. And we'll see which, Mathurin should take off for Indiana. For OKC, I feel like it's a mix of guys. It depends who's on and who's off those days.
Yeah, so here's the reason why I think it's going to be a close series.
Okay.
I think the Pacers, they don't really have that one guy that if they don't show up, they lose. I think the Thunder have that guy.
I think they do, though.
I don't think so.
I think if Halliburton's having a rough game where he's not dishing out the ball, if Halliburton turns the ball over a lot,
Right, well,
they're screwed.
I'm speaking. Well, Halliburton doesn't turn the ball over. That's number one.
Exactly.
And number two is he can score 7 points and they can still blow out the team. That's what I'm trying to say.
Right, yeah.
That's their number one guy, and he can score 7 and they still win. That's my point.
Okay.
Now for the Thunder, if SGA scores 10 points, 15 points, even 20 points, that could be an L for the Thunder. You see what I'm saying here?
Well, yeah.
So the Pacers, I feel like they play a different brand of basketball where it's like you can have an off night, but it's okay, second man up, and they always come through. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
The Thunder is if SGA doesn't show up, it's gonna be a tight game, or it's gonna be an L.
Or even
J-Dub.
Yeah, because
Exactly.
SGA's been notoriously great against Indiana.
Right.
So I think I think the series in total comes down to Jalen Williams.
Okay.
I think he is the complete and total X factor here because you saw in the first 6 games against Denver, he was,
Right.
He had a couple good games. He had
No, he just wasn't
really bad stinkers.
Yeah.
I mean, because that's, testament to the defense of Aaron Gordon until he got injured.
Yeah.
So now you're going to be guarded by, you're going to probably get rotated constantly between Neesmith and Nembhard.
Yeah. Capable defenders.
Let's see what you got because, like we said in the last segment, or 2 segments ago when we talked about the Eastern Conference Finals, Nembhard's been clamping up everybody this playoffs. He's been holding everyone to under 35% from the field and under 30% from 3.
Right.
So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing regarding that. And, I agree with you in the sense that Indiana's underrated considering I've been on that train for so long. The Western Conference is so stacked. Do not get me wrong. We know how incredible the Thunder are. When healthy, we know how great Nikola Jokic and the Nuggets are. We know how good the Lakers can be. We know how good all these teams can be. Minnesota, the Warriors when they're healthy, and the whole 9 yards. We also know how good the Celtics are at their best. We know how good the Cavs can be when they're healthy, everything like that. There's no team in the NBA like the Pacers. The way they play, the way they operate is total chaos. You're just overwhelmed constantly. And I think this is something that the Western Conference lacks. This is something that the Eastern Conference can pride themselves on because I think some of the Pacers are rubbing off on these rebuilding teams. I think you're going to see this with the Magic when Jalen Suggs is healthy in the playoffs and they get better. You're going to see this with the Detroit Pistons like we saw glimpses of this against the Knicks. And I think that's going to be the type of offense and defense. I think this is the type of defense you're going to see from a Jordy Fernandez Brooklyn Nets. Where everyone's just going to hound everybody.
Now, let me ask you, do you give more credit to Tyrese Halliburton for the way that the Pacers play, or do you give more credit to Rick Carlisle for the way that they play?
I think it goes hand in hand because Rick Carlisle has a very specific system he wants to run. Tyrese Halliburton makes his job so much easier. The way Halliburton's just able to probe around and just find any guy in any open spot, and then he could also draw. He's a 3-level scorer. He can do it all.
Right.
And Tyrese Halliburton, the fact that he's able to have that sort of versatility with his game, the fact it works so well that Siakam averaged 25 in the Eastern Conference Finals, and they didn't run a single play for him. The fact that he's able to operate like that at that level is incredible.
Yeah.
And you have the guys around him. All 5 of them can shoot. And, it makes Carlisle's job way, way easier. It's not to knock Carlisle. He's doing an incredible job. He's one of the most underrated coaches.
Yeah, he is.
But Tyrese Halliburton is, at least up until now, was the most underrated player in the league. I still think that's Siakam. But, they both go hand in hand there.
Yeah.
What do you think?
About who gets more credit?
Yeah.
I think, it's hard to say, but I love the way Rick Carlisle is coaching this team. He's really, I guess you can say it's the opposite of Tom Thibodeau. I keep saying Thibodeau. Tom Thibodeau.
You know why?
Because he fully takes advantage of all the...
You're thinking of Kayvon Thibodeau.
Okay.
Oh, on the Giants?
Yeah, different pronunciation.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's probably it is.
Fair.
But Tom Thibodeau, I said it again. Tom Thibodeau, he doesn't really take advantage of all the guys that he has, even though he didn't really have guys this year.
But that's the
Rick
thing, though.
Carlisle does, and so...
But even besides that, I guarantee you, if Rick Carlisle was coaching the Knicks, Cameron Payne, Tyler Kolek, and whoever would have been playing at least 15 minutes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Tom Thibodeau never would have touched Tony Bradley. Pause. But it wouldn't have even been a thought in the back of his mind.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that kind of gives you the confidence. It genuinely would not surprise me because we know Jarris Walker's out. It would not shock me one bit if Thomas Bryant puts up a stinker in the first game, he transitions to James Johnson. Mm-hmm. It would not shock me one bit if he tries him out.
Yeah.
Because why the hell not?
Yeah.
Seriously, that's Nets legend LeBron Porkchop Johnson. So you never know. We didn't expect Tony Bradley to be a +8 and keep Mitchell Robinson off the glass for an entire quarter. So that's things like that. Like Tom Thibodeau, Tyler Kolek could have came in and drained 5 threes in a row. We don't know.
Exactly.
And that's why you have to just say F it and just go for the gusto. It's the playoffs.
Yeah.
And we saw how Josh Hart's going to wind up getting traded because he was so bad down the stretch in the Knicks Pacers series. Mm-hmm. He was just running to the ground.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the main issue.
Yeah. At the end of the day, though, I give more credit to Tyrese because he is the guy that's out there actually executing. So
yeah,
I'll give him more credit.
Yeah.
What do you say about that, Antoine?
Well, yeah, Indy, don't forget Ben Shepherd, when he comes in.
Yes, can't forget about him.
We're waiting on Johnny Furphy. Hopefully next year he'll get his minutes to come in as a three-point specialist.
Right. He's from Australia.
Went to Kansas.
Cool.
Really good guy. Second round pick.
Cool.
This past draft, in the first round and second round, there were 4 decent shooters. De Silva went first, and then Jacoby Walter went second at Toronto, and then Furphy and Kaishan George were Washington, and then Indiana.
See that game winner Walter had at the end of the season when he just chucked it up?
Yeah, those are the 4 3-point specialists that were this past draft. Furphy was kind of late first round, mid second round. He was one of the first picks in the second round.
Well, yeah,
but anyway,
they didn't have a first from the Pascal.
Yeah, but anyway,
but you transcend.
I transcend. Listen, I feel regardless, Indy, with this outcome, Indy and OKC will improve in the offseason regardless. There are things to strengthen up. We're waiting on Jarris Walker. He may get moved. We know that's been a storyline for so many years. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. But I'm excited.
Who would you give more credit, though? Carlisle or Tyrese?
Well, the players, because they play. So Hali. But the coaching comes a long way as well. Carlisle is, very vocal in what he does. And on the sideline, you see him, he has his quiet and he has his fired up moments.
Yeah.
But Hali deserves the credit because that's who they built the team around. And, because he was the first one there. Siakam came after.
Turner was the first one there.
Well, Turner was, correct. Yeah. That was a long time ago. We're talking about,
I still can't believe the Kings traded that, man. That's
so
crazy.
far back. But Hali came after Turner, and then Siakam followed, Nembhard, the drafting, Neesmith, Mathurin, McConnell, Toppin.
Yeah.
That's so really the GM gets the credit.
Kevin Pritchard, you absolute Chad.
Yeah.
You absolute legend. That is a great general manager.
Right.
Don't discount the greatest general manager on the Western side, which is Sam Presti, because that team has been a work in progress for almost a decade. And they finally got their first trip.
And they're still hoarding all those picks. They still have 30 picks in the next decade.
Yeah.
They have the third most behind us and in Brooklyn and San Antonio, I think.
And they're favorites to win the
I
finals.
will say, though.
They almost got the 7th pick, too.
The starting fives, I feel are neck and neck on so many different levels The bench play, I think, is going to be critical because, they're deep benches. But looking at, we forgot about Caruso on OKC.
Well, he's already arrived.
know-
We were talking about who needs to step up that hasn't.
Well, yeah, I said Mathurin and I think Chet. Those are my two.
Mathurin
big
and
ones.
Chet, yeah.
I would also say J-Dub. He can't have any
that would be my
stinkers.
answer, yeah.
And then we'll see what happens with the benches.
You know what? My answer is SGA.
Well, that's
Because
of
if
course.
if the Thunder win, it's going to be because of him.
Well,
That's it.
obviously, he's the best player in the series.
Well,
No, but look,
also
listen.
the
Let me say something. If SGA has some stinkers, they're gonna lose. So if SGA wants to be that player that's that's known to come through in the playoffs, that's a playoff riser. If he
Yeah.
wants to have that attached to his name, he must show up in every single game. He can't have a stinker.
Well, yeah, the MVP
That's
of
it.
the season has to step up.
Yeah.
That's what's been.
That's what they say, but we'll
that's
see.
what's riding
You
on
got to
him.
see it.
Well,
You got to see it.
I can't help myself. I have to ask you this question because, we're in the NBA Finals now. This is two teams that are extremely physical. One team historically gets a great whistle. The other team historically does not. How much impact do you think, Gio, the refs are going to have on this series as far as will it be one-sided physicality? Will there be favorable calls? Because we've seen in the past that SGA does tend to get more whistles than more other players. And we saw last year and this year Indiana does get kind of, I'm trying to think of an SFW word for getting robbed by the whistle. But I can't think of one. But you know what I'm talking about.
Right.
So what do you think?
Honestly, I'm really tired of this whole referee conversation where it's like, oh, this player gets all the calls. I'm honestly tired of it. I think I watched a video the other day, and it was showing stats of how many times guys like SGA or Jalen Brunson, how many times they drive to the basket, and it's exponentially more times that they drive to the basket than other players that don't get the same whistle. And so you would expect that their free throws would be way up because they got more drives. So, I mean, that being said, obviously the Thunder are going to have more free throws to shoot than the Pacers. That's a given.
Absolutely.
We know that.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to say that it's going to be the refs that are giving them the win. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to say that.
Yeah, I'm not
it's
I'm not
a
saying
part
that.
of how they play the game.
Right.
Hate it or love it, but most people hate it. I understand that completely, but that's just how they play, and that's a part of the game. So
It's fair. Maybe that can be an advantage to Indiana because
It
they're
could
not
be.
used to getting the calls.
Exactly.
If you do get a Mark Davis game where,
Right.
for those that don't know, Mark Davis, if he's reffing your basketball game, you can commit crimes and you will not get called for a foul.
Right.
It's like ultra physicality.
right,
It's nuts.
If it's
And-
anything like super blatant and there's no calls or something like that, then it'll be like, all right, what's going on over here? But
Right.
if nothing like that happens, which it probably won't happen,
Yeah.
it's going to be fine.
And we do have a vast variety of refs officiating this finals. Obviously, you have Scott Foster, you have Zach Zarba, you have Mark Davis, David Guthrie, James Capers, and all of them range from extremely physical to I'm going to call 30 fouls a game
Yeah.
and send SGA to the free throw line 25 times.
Yeah.
So
Just give me consistency and I'm fine.
that's all I'm asking for. Like if the Thunder commit marginal contact and it's a hard foul and they don't call a ticky-tack foul on the other end.
Exactly.
It goes for both sides because that's not what it's about. And, if it does wind up being 2-0 to someone after the first two games, we will definitely see Scott Foster in games 3 or 4,
We probably will. Yeah.
most likely. But, I mean, what do you think about the whole ref thing? Do you think it's going to play much of an impact here with this series?
If I'm being honest, I think the refs bite their tongue this series.
They better.
I don't think
Bite their tongue, meaning they don't
they
call.
don't blow the whistle at all. I think with SGA, I think you gotta just alter SGA's playing game in the finals. See
Wait,
what
let me
he can-
ask you.
See what he can do outside of fouling. I think they just let them be physical. It's the finals.
So wait, let me ask you this though: if they do bite their tongue on calls and they don't blow the whistle as much, who does that favor? Does that favor OKC and their physical defense?
Well, you're biting.
Or does it favor the
You're
Pacers?
biting the whistle on both sides.
It
You're not
mainly,
just
it
doing on
mainly
one
favors
side.
Lou Dort because he could just tackle people.
Right.
But
Well, I mean,
And Caruso,
no.
all those guys are super physical,
Tho-
especially when the refs are not calling.
Those are fouls. I'm talking like the SGA stuff.
where he
what
like
he
kind of
tries to
flops
do.
and stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I think that should be bite the tongue. Let him adjust. You need to adjust as an NBA player. You can't
Absolutely.
just keep your regular bread and butter and expect it. Like that's the problem. You can't let these players have it easy. Like,
No.
I'm sorry. a lot of the players now are divas, and they complain. Complaining is a part of the game, and the refs just sit there and just talk back whatever they want to do, and just say, yeah, what do you have for dinner? I had what'd you have for dinner? And they fight about the foul call 5 minutes later.
Yeah. That's basically what it is. But these are two of the most physical teams in the NBA. And I'm super excited because if we get classic 90s physicality of Aaron Nesmith and Andrew Nembhard, I'm actually so excited for this series because I wanted Wolves Pacers, but I actually think the Pacers would have ran the Wolves off the floor. So I think this is a much more competitive series in the sense of you got two teams with dogs all the way down the roster. Is there anyone on these teams that are soft? I don't think there is. I genuinely can't put my finger on it.
Yeah, no,
I think
there's not one.
Every player,
maybe Miles Turner a little bit.
I don't even think Miles Turner is. I just think he's just a well-spoken guy that likes to build Legos, and nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think.
I genuinely don't get the hate for Legos.
I don't think anybody. I think both teams want it because it would be their first in a while, and these guys are predicated on their success, and they know that right now it's do or die, and they may not be there again because you could say a lot of it can go either way for OKC, and it can go for Indiana as well.
Yeah, it's tough because this could be a once in a lifetime opportunity here. We don't know
exactly. It's because every year it could be a different storyline for sports. I know I don't know what I was going to try to get at there, but, we don't have the joy like the Stanley Cup final started today. It's the same matchup as it was last year.
Oh, wow.
The Panthers and the Oilers.
And that's what bugs me the most because I forgot. Let me look it up. I forgot the guy's name.
I will say the Panthers are also in their third straight Stanley Cup final.
I guess so they're just that good?
Well, hockey's different. But
is it rigged? Is that what you're telling me?
I don't think hockey's rigged.
Okay. But, no, it's definitely not rigged. It's the contract situations are a lot more lenient than it is in the NBA.
Yeah.
Where the Nuggets easily could have re-signed Bruce Brown and Jeff Green if it was under the hockey salary cap rules and everything.
But the storyline of the Panthers and Oilers is fascinating this year because the Panthers went up 3-0 last year in the final. Edmonton came back and won the last 3 and made it to a Game 7, but then Florida closed it out. So it was heartbreak for Edmonton. So Edmonton's looking for that revenge
story. I found the tweet. So Jason McIntyre. He's the co-host on The Herd.
Oh, okay.
So he said on the show yesterday, he said, give me super teams or give me death. That's what I like. I like superstars in the NBA Finals. And this is why he's not happy at all with this matchup. And a lot of casual NBA fans aren't happy with this matchup.
I'm the only casual that's happy.
Yeah, because that's the thing. Even though you do claim yourself as a casual, you love basketball. These people just want to see LeBron and Steph and Kevin Durant. They don't care about. And it's weird how a random NBA fan in Wyoming is complaining about NBA ratings like that matters to them.
To also echo that, what's the point of having small market teams then?
Bingo, there you go.
Do you want just a 4-league? Let's make every professional sport a 4-league team. New York, LA, Miami, Boston. That's it. No expansion.
You forgot LA.
Well, the argument to that is
F the expansion.
The argument for that is, if you look at a chessboard, you have pawns, you have kings, you have queens, you have rooks, you have bishops.
They're all integral.
Yeah, but some were more valuable than the others. That's how the NBA looks at it.
But can't the pawn turn into a more powerful piece?
There you go.
Which is exactly what Steph Curry did to the Golden State Warriors.
It's all
San Francisco is a pretty big market.
But the Warriors weren't touted as a big market team. The Warriors were kind of
because they were just trash.
Exactly, and that rose them up, and now the Warriors are touted as one of the biggest market teams in the NBA purely because of the dynasty. But I never understand because people are crapping on the past 3 NBA finals. This one, Celtics, Mavs, and Nuggets Heat, calling them the worst 3 finals of all time, calling the 3 rings the fakest 3 rings of all time. It makes no sense.
But the thing about that is that the players are the ones that decide who gets the finals, obviously, because they're the ones playing the sport.
Yeah.
And it's just, there's a season next year.
Yeah.
The NBA does not stop. It's who's good this season.
Yeah.
and then we started all over again. It's a rotating cycle of life.
Let me tell you what the
We
issue
all
is.
start from scratch every single year, and it just depends from the every year. Just who starts and finishes the job. That's literally what happens.
Yeah. So let me
know.
tell you what the issue is really quickly. I'm going to break it down for you guys.
Okay.
The issue is we're in a transition period with the NBA. We're going from LeBron and Steph. We were so spoiled by them for all those years.
And
now
KD.
we're in this, and KD, don't forget,
Gotta
and
include.
Russ. If you include KD, you got to include Russell Westbrook.
No.
So we were so spoiled from those guys, and now we're in the transition period. We're going from those guys, they're retiring, to, who's going to be the next guy, right? So that's where we're at right now.
And whose fault is that?
You tell me.
It's the NBA's.
The NBA's fault.
Because they've been clinging on to these three gentlemen for so long. We
Yeah.
should already have a face of the league by now. And I watched, there was a video from Legend of Winning. Shout out him. He's probably one of the most neutral content creators that you'll see in the NBA, social media space. And there's a clear agenda that these media outlets push, where they only go for the American-born prospects. If you're foreign, they don't care about you. Notice the verbiage that these guys were using on television. Anthony Edwards has to step up. Donovan Mitchell is a superstar. And he said that in his first playoffs, by the way, in 2021
Who's saying this?
Stephen A.
Stephen A.
This was back in I don't remember if this was 2021 or prior, but Anthony Edwards has to step up. Zion has to step up.
Right.
Jokic, SGA, Giannis have all done so much historic stuff.
Yeah.
Is it because they're foreign? Is that the reason why?
They give them their flowers.
Hold
But
on.
they don't want to classify any of them as the face of the league. They don't even want to talk about Wemby yet. All they're caring about right now, they're trying to force down your throat, pause. Anthony Edwards is the next face of the league. Anthony Edwards is the next Michael Jordan. This is the Michael Jordan heir to the throne. It's all this stuff.
Well, it's more reasons than that.
This is actually a good point because what I'm about to say doesn't really mean much to the finals talk, but it's interesting into what Tyler just brought up with the USA and the world.
Yeah.
I don't know if you saw today that
they're changing the
Adam
All-Star?
Silver was on
Yeah.
FS1 today. And the All-Star game next year is going to be Team USA versus the Team World.
I love
We'll
this.
talk more on that next week.
I guess Adam Silver is trying to change this narrative because he sees it himself. So, and I thought it was really interesting because
I actually love
this should have
this.
been happening for a long time because they have it for the Rising Stars Challenge.
They used to. Not
They
anymore,
did?
obviously. They do
Okay.
the tournament format.
Oh yes,
Yeah, but
sorry.
we'll talk more about the All-Star format next week.
We're just
because we
gonna
don't
dip
have much.
because we don't know. He just said that loosely. We don't know what's happening, but he just dropped that just nonchalantly on a Wednesday morning on FS1.
But kind of
So-
going back to my point though is that
Yeah.
SGA has the chance to win the MVP, the Western Conference Finals MVP, and the Finals MVP, along with an NBA championship in the same season. He should have been this. If they win, he should have been the second to do it because Jokic should have done it in 2023. But again, the narrative changes, everything like that. But SGA has not even been considered. NBA, he hasn't been considered for the face of the league. It makes absolutely no sense.
I
to
don't
me.
think he
You
should be.
know what's crazy? Also, bringing up Stephen A. Smith. I'm gonna get off basketball, but Shohei Ohtani. When Stephen A. opened his mouth about Shohei Ohtani cannot be the face of baseball because he didn't speak English, and then all the baseball fans went after him, he completely switched up and said, "Oh, Ohtani is the face of the league for what he does."
And that's the issue.
That's because Stephen A. does not know baseball talk. And I wish we had fans like that in the NBA that would see the international success that they bring to our American sports, like Ohtani, for example, for MLB. We know how big he is. NBA now with Jokic, Giannis, Luka. I can go on and on. Even the guys coming in this year in the draft,
Right.
and Wemby as well. So it's just the sports are not just a one country thing. We have a whole earth we live on.
we literally
know.
we literally call these teams world champions.
Yeah.
Like that's what, and you notice too that the two players that constantly get pushed narrative wise is Jason Tatum and Anthony Edwards, and they try
Tatum,
and
no.
Tatum.
Tatum gets the most trash talk in the NBA.
No, but I'm talking about analysts. Analysts force Jason Tatum into these MVP conversations when he has no business being there because they want it. They want an American there.
No,
Because
that's not why.
there's a track record. You can go years back of comments made on ESPN, on Fox Sports 1, on TNT, on all these media platforms. They push the American stars. And there's a clear xenophobic agenda being pushed subtly. and they don't really even hide it anymore.
SGA is American.
He's not. He's Canadian.
He's not American.
SGA is American.
He played for Canada in the Olympics.
Guess what
Yo.
Canada is a part of? America.
No,
No, we're
North
talking
America.
about the United States.
There you go. That's a
United
better term.
States of
Okay.
America.
If we're talking about America, SGA is American. So
Okay,
He's
the
from-
continent,
Continent
North
of
America.
There you
North
go.
American. I guess then Manu Ginobili because he's from South America. Like that's essentially the
Yeah,
same thing.
Manu's
But
Argentinian,
they
yeah.
force these U.S. based players, and they force it on them. Like say Anthony Edwards needs to be better. Like
he does.
he does need to be better, but he doesn't need to be the face of the league. He doesn't have to
Well,
be.
it's not because he's American that we want him to be face of the league.
No.
We want him to be. Let me just tell you why.
That's your view. I'm talking about the media.
Yeah.
Well, even the media. I'll tell you why. It's because people love his personality. That's number one. People love the way he plays, and he's flashy as hell. He's a good player. Those are the three reasons why we want him to be the face of the league. It's not because he's American.
But what about a guy like Giannis? That's
I
what
mean, I think he was the face of the league at one point.
they never gave him a chance. Giannis wanted
Who's
chance.
they? The media?
The media controls the NBA heavily. Why do you think the contracts are so big? Because the media rights deals are obscene, billions
Yeah.
of dollars in money.
Right.
Gio, ESPN is bread and butter is basketball and football. That's literally half of their shows.
Literally-
a majority
I
of
think
the shows.
I think in order to be the face of the league, you have to be good. You have to show promise and be very good very early in your career. Giannis didn't have that. SGA didn't have that. So those are the reasons why those guys, even Jokic, I mean, he showed promise, but he really started coming into his own maybe like 5 years ago. So it's like you have to show that even before you're in the NBA. Like LeBron James, everyone was talking about him before he entered the league. So that's why he became the face of the league.
Well,
And that's
you have to have that around you.
and that's why you need to take time. It takes time to build up. That's why teams like the Wolves can't get out of the conference finals.
Yeah.
That's why teams like the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Bucks, they all won championships because they took their time with the rebuilds, and that's kind of the main thing.
Yeah.
But we kind of went off on a.
Do we
little
wanna get-
tangent
We did.
there? Yeah.
Will we visit this when LeBron and Steph retire? Because then we have a
Yeah.
combo of who's taking over. Because right now, I feel like it's still LeBron and Steph in my eyes for the face of the league.
It's LeBron. It's notoriously LeBron, Steph, and Kevin Durant. It's
Yeah,
always been
I
those
think,
three.
and then we have the risers, Wemby, in a few years.
Yeah.
And yeah,
but
we can revisit.
I promise you, no matter how good Wemby is, they will still resort to a U.S. born player.
We'll have to see when Stephen A.
We'll
that time
see.
happens when LeBron, Steph, and they ask him who's the face of the league.
Just
We'll
give
see.
it 3 years. Wemby could have a championship by then, and Cooper Flag could be in hell with the Mavericks,
Right.
and they'll prop him up as the face of the league instead of him.
Oh yeah, let's
So-
see.
I personally don't really like Vic, but not because he's not American, not because he's
Well,
not
obviously, yeah.
U.S. You know what I mean?
Alright.
But
Yeah, I know you're not part of that company of
Yeah.
people. But
Alright.
let's get into our official 2025 NBA Finals predictions. What we're going to do, we're going to break it down game by game like we did in the previous round with the conference finals. Tell me who wins each game and what the series laments to.
And
you
then-
can add in any other details and who was your pick for Finals MVP.
Yeah.
You leaked it a bunch of times in the show earlier. We pretty much, everyone knows who you're picking. But in case for people that arrowed over to this,
Yeah.
give us your breakdown of the series. Let us know, Antoine.
So for me, the first two games, I feel like it's going to be OKC for both. And then game 3 and 4, we're going to have a little splittage of
Splittage is crazy.
I think Indy gets game 3, OKC gets game 4. I think Indy will take game 5. They'll be back at OKC, correct? And then I think I'll go OKC game 6 at home.
OKC's on the road, game 6.
Wait,
You had Thunder. In
oh,
5
you're right.
earlier,
Thunder.
yeah.
Yeah, I'm confusing. It's still Thunder in 5. Okay, I'm sorry. Yeah, so so 2 for OKC, then 1-1, and then OKC back home for game 5, and then my MVP. It's got to be the MVP of the season, SGA. I think that's just kind of how the cookie crumbles.
If he doesn't win, I'm not putting. If they win the championship and he doesn't win Finals MVP, that's gonna be funny. I'm not even gonna lie to you.
Yeah,
and
a
he
lot of-
doesn't.
He
Yeah.
doesn't. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Like if J Dub wins it or if Chet wins it,
Right.
he's gonna.
Yeah,
win it
literally.
regardless.
Yeah, no way that's gonna happen.
Like he honestly, SGA could play so well, he could still win the Finals MVP if they lose.
I don't think that'll happen.
Like
Oh,
if Indy,
that'd be
like if
crazy.
Indy wins
if
by
they gave it to Iguodala instead of LeBron, it's not happening.
right,
Just
but I'm
tell
saying
you
if Indy has like a total by committee win and no one sticks out, and SGA averages like 35,
that. Give it to Neesmith.
give it to McConnell.
Give it to McConnell.
So, all right. So yeah, Anthony, no surprises there going Thunder in 5.
Yeah.
Is that mainly any like bias of just hating them for taking out the Knicks twice in a row?
Yeah.
Actually, this is the fourth
I
time in
mean-
a row the Pacers have beaten the Knicks.
I mean, it could be a little bit, but I just feel like OKC's a little too well-rounded, built a little more than Indiana is. I think I'm predicated on the defense and the offense as well, because those guys can hoop if they're all on their game, even the bench.
I don't blame you at all. I mean,
So-
this OKC team is historically good.
Yeah.
Best defense in a while, second best net rating of all time, 68 wins.
I will say, I don't think all the games are going to be blowouts. I think they're going to be close.
That's fair.
That's what I think. Indy does not get blown out in every single, or not even 3 or 4. Maybe one game could be a blowout
I think
for
we're gonna see some
OKC
blowouts.
and an Indy, but I think every game will be within a few possessions.
Yeah. I think we're going to see a couple blowouts, but they're not going to be in games 1 and 2. So I'll get into my predictions.
Get into it.
All right, so games 1 and 2, they're going to be both very tight games. It's going to split. OKC is going to win the first. Indiana will win the second. Tyrese will have some crazy stuff in the end of the game, and then they'll win that game too.
Okay.
In games 3 and 4, we're going to have another split,
Oh,
but these are going to be blowouts. Both of these games, 3 and 4, will be blowouts going to either team. Then in games 5 and 6, we're going to have OKC take both of those back-to-back. They're just going to get the job done when it matters most. All those guys on defense are going to lock in like we saw how they locked in against the Timberwolves, like we saw how they locked in against the Nuggets.
Yeah.
So we'll see that again. And unfortunately, the OKC Thunder will win the NBA Finals.
In 6.
I wanted the Pacers to win. I'm
Well,
rooting
obviously,
for them wholeheartedly.
well, you did the right thing picking OKC then. If you want the Pacers to win,
Yeah. Okay. No, but I actually want the Pacers to win. And I was this close to picking the Pacers just because I wanted them to win, but I'm not going to do it. I'm going to go with what I think is going to happen, and
That's
that is
totally
OKC in 6.
and who's your Finals MVP?
SGA.
Damn, I was hoping it was going to be like AJ Mitchell or something.
Yeah. I don't even know who that
But
is.
yeah,
That's crazy. He doesn't know who AJ Mitchell is.
That's right. He did admit he's a casual, so it's fine.
Yeah.
All right. Tyler's the penultimate.
All right, so I had some thoughts regarding what I wanted to do. A little quick fact: out of 15 ESPN expert picks, 14 of them picked the Thunder, most of them in 5.
Wow.
Jeremy Wu, shout out you! You were the lone ranger to go with the Indiana Pacers. He picked the Pacers in 7 games,
Oh, wow.
and I think this is the one series where, like, if you pick a blowout, I don't blame you because of how good OKC is. And then I looked at teams that won more than, teams that had the same amount of wins with the record as OKC this year. Obviously, we know the 73-9 Warriors lost the finals. The 72-10 Bulls and the 69-13 Bulls won the finals, as did the 69-13 Lakers and the 68-13 Sixers. The last time a 68-win team went to the NBA Finals, they lost in the they didn't even make it. They lost in the conference finals. It was the Boston Celtics. So I'm very torn. I honestly do not know. All the teams that OKC's in company with outside of Phillies were all-time dynasties. The Lakers, the Celtics, the Bulls, and then you got some other teams that lost, like the 2016 San Antonio Spurs, the 07 Mavs. It's just a lot, and I don't want to let history kind of deter my pick. And I said when we did our preseason predictions, I had the Pacers losing to the Nuggets. And I said on March 19th in our Bold Predictions episode that the Indiana Pacers would win the 2025 NBA Finals. And Antoine wanted to cancel the show, which, could wind up being hilarious or whatnot. And I really didn't know who to pick until about an hour ago, and I kind of figured it out for myself. And here's what I think is going to happen. I think we're going to get a split in Oklahoma City. I think there are going to be 2 close games, and the winning team just pulls away. I'm not going to tell you who's going to win what game because I don't know. I honestly don't know. Game 3, the Indiana Pacers are 0-3. Let's keep that going. They're going to lose Game 3 as per usual. I think they win Game 4. Then I think to tie up the series at 2, Oklahoma City takes Game 5. I think Indy blows them out in Game 6.
Okay.
Game 7, our first Game 7 since 2016, I believe, right, when the Cavs came down from 3-1.
Yeah.
And I think Game 7 is going to be the hilarious dark magic comeback
No way.
from the Indiana Pacers. And I think it's going to result in a Tyrese Halliburton buzzer beater 3 from the left wing.
God.
And I think the Indiana Pacers will win the NBA Finals over OKC in 7 games.
Dude.
With Tyrese Halliburton winning Finals MVP.
Are you trying to go viral right now, bro? Like,
I could.
he's talking about Tyrese Halliburton hitting a game winner from the left wing. Like, if that happens, do you realize how many, like...
Bro, that's gonna be crazy.
Do you realize how many, like... I don't even know. Like, the allegations are going to be crazy.
As much as that will be a great series, that's just not realistic to me. I feel like it's okay.
It's possible.
I don't know. It's tough because
It is possible, but I don't know.
the series. Because the series you predicted happened the last 2 years.
Yeah.
We saw the blowouts and everything like that. But I think
We're due for a good one.
I think this OKC team is completely on par with Denver and Boston. Completely. But Indiana's way better than that Miami team, and they're way better than that Mavericks team. And in fact, I said this plenty of times on the show last year. Indy would have blown out Dallas. They would have ran them off the floor. So I do think they're a worthy adversary for Oklahoma City.
So they're better than a lot of people think.
Exactly. And I've been preaching that since we started this show, to be honest with you.
Past year, yeah.
So
Okay,
So, yeah.
Tyler, I hope everything you said happens, bro.
yeah, man.
Because we'll definitely go viral if that happens.
The corgi picked Pacers in 6, by the way.
Yeah, the
Okay.
corgi, the
dog.
Yeah,
The
the
corgi-
dog.
the
I don't know who that is.
You know the dog that sits at the top of the steps and you have the 2 baskets at the bottom and he hits it
No.
into
yeah,
the thing.
his
He picked
No.
owner.
So a
his
dog
owner.
picked it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you,
The dog-
you don't
Has
know
he
who
been
he
right?
is?
The dog's been right on the first 3 Pacers series.
He's been right.
He said the Pacers beating all the Bucks, the Cavs, and the Knicks. He had the Pacers stealing both games in Oklahoma
Are you
City.
serious?
They they lose game 3 as per usual. They win game 4. Oklahoma City wins game 5, and then the Pacers win game 6.
Yeah,
Okay.
the corgi is famous. I'm surprised you don't know who that is.
Yeah, I'm
I
surprised.
don't scroll like
He's
you,
on
Anthony.
Instagram
You,
and TikTok.
you stop.
Oh,
You definitely do.
you're the one that invented the dictionary book for it.
Anthony, I literally don't. You were literally doom scrolling on the podcast, bro. We called
Literally
you a
earlier in
4K,
this
bro.
episode. Yeah. But
By the way, that's what he does when he has nothing to say, right there.
exactly, yeah. He thinks that's how Gio laughs.
That's
but
how
it's just not
Gio's
it.
laughs, bro.
Not even close.
Yo,
But-
Gio, how are your socks today, bro?
They're actually.
You getting some nice air conditioning?
Yeah, they're.
Yeah, good airflow. like those wire racks?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it is. But
That's it.
look, will I be wrong? Probably.
We'll see.
But look, I've stuck with the Pacers for so long. It would be a disservice to them and to myself if I switched up in the finals.
Yeah, don't switch
Because what's
Yeah,
the
exactly.
absolute worst thing that could happen? I'm wrong. It's part of
Yeah,
the job.
exactly.
It's literally part of this thing. So, we're gonna be wrong. We're gonna be right.
Mm-hmm.
Don't hold us accountable. Don't sue us for bad parlays because that is on you.
Yep.
And yeah, that's
That's all we got.
that's our finals predictions. Let us know down in the comments who you guys have. Obviously, we do have a poll of who you guys picked to win the finals. We're going to release one tomorrow by the time this episode comes out of who your finals MVP picks are going to be. And that will kind of be that. And guys, do we have any other final thoughts, comments, concerns regarding this series before we head into the outro?
No. Let's rock and roll.
All right, and that brings us to the end of the 2025. That brings us to the end of episode number 60 of the Floor Spacer podcast. Gio, we forgot to do the G of the week in the intro, so why don't you go ahead and do that,
The
and then
G of
give
the
us
week?
and then give us the comment for people that are still with the flow at home.
His
Well,
socks.
we didn't live stream though.
So just pick anyone.
His socks.
The G of the week,
Pick
I
a-
guess.
Pick a player, a coach, a celebrity.
Can
anyone.
it be like literally anyone?
anyone?
Okay, it's gonna be my grandma.
Yeah, shout out,
Shout out
Grandma.
to yeah.
Grandma.
Yeah.
Grandma Gio.
Grandma Nammy. We call her Nammy, by the way. So.
Nammy?
Nammy,
I hope,
you're the G of the
I
week.
hope she told you to shut up, too.
She would never. She's not as mean as you, Anthony.
No one is,
Yeah.
but yeah, you said it's her birthday, right?
No. That's January 4th.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not her birthday. It's my cousin's birthday
Cousin's
today, so
birthday.
shout out to him as well. We
Shout
got
out
2
to your
G's
cousin.
today.
I hope he tells you
Shout
to
out
shut
to
up,
Jared and shout out to Nammy.
I hope he tells you to shut up, too.
Nah,
So shout out, and then what's the word that people comment at
the
home?
word is gonna be dogs because Anthony's dogs are literally like
But how are we
a couple
spelling it?
centimeters away from me.
D-A-W-G-S.
No,
W-G-S.
D-O-G-S.
No,
Oh.
for you, it's definitely the animal. So it's
Yeah.
DOGS.
Yeah, dogs.
All right, not
Dogs.
dog with W.
No.
No, definitely.
Gio, your dog's almost peeking out of your socks. They're gonna break out soon.
That was yesterday, bro. I got good
I'm
socks today.
free.
This guy's insane.
we definitely have fun here.
What's up with this guy?
But yeah, obviously, we'll obviously keep tabs on the final. Hopefully, we will be back to streaming again next week, so be on the lookout for
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about the All-Star game and everything of that nature, as well as more free agency talk and whatnot. And as far as like anything else to keep on track, We will be live streaming the night of the NBA draft. We'll remind you all as the weeks go on. We're also going to live stream that Monday night for free agency when legal tampering starts. So
Yes, sir.
we'll be ready, locked, and loaded. Hopefully our teams make some good decisions. If you do enjoy today's video, be sure to drop a like, subscribe to the channel, get us to 6K by the end of this series, or at least by the end of the month. If you're on Spotify audio platforms, give us 5 stars, answer the polls, leave a review. Follow our socials at FloorSpacerPod on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, TikTok. You've been really blowing us up on TikTok and Instagram. We thank you all enough for that.
Yeah.
Join our Discord server, link in the description and in the pinned comment below. And all our links are at the link tree there as well. Get Gio to 1 million Instagram followers. And guys, do you have anything else random to say to the viewers before we head on out of here for the
He's
week?
not even on Instagram. Everyone report his account.
The accusations are crazy.
I literally, can you stop putting my
No,
business
everyone,
out there?
please spam his Instagram with messages so
Yeah, tell Gio to come back.
he logs in and his phone just blows up and there's smoke coming out of it.
Everyone already clicked off the video, bro. Stop
That's pretty
talking.
much what they
You're
did.
so awful for saying that. You should be staying right to the last second.
So let's just rapidly move on then to the outro of this video. We hope you all enjoyed. Thank you all for watching. We love you all endlessly. We do not like Nico Harrison. We do not like that man at all.
We'll go to sleep.
And we'll see you all next week in episode 61. Peace out.